This is where I'd be, hey guys, did you see Deadpool 2? We definitely haven't had this conversation yet. Ashes by Celine Dion is great. Go watch it. And Deadpool dances around in the music video. It's fantastic.
5, 4.
Anyway,
I gotta watch Deadpool.
You do have to watch
2, 1.
Hello, everybody, and
Round
welcome
one.
to the True Illuminati
Capture the
Podcast,
objective.
officially episode 7. This episode is going live while the three of us are at Indie PopCon. So if you are at Indie PopCon and you are listening to this the day it goes live and then see us later that night or the next day, hey, tell us what a great job we did and how phenomenal we are as podcasters and how there is really no one any better than us. We're at the top of our game. And Jesse would like alcohol.
I was about to say that it's very cocky of you to assume this is gonna be a great episode, but then you just went left and we're like, you're also the best there ever was. Yeah, like, oh, I
Guys, you see us. Say, guys, let's face it, you're peerless. Now come on over to this bar and get drunk.
Right. Let me buy you guys some booze, and then we'll be your best friends for the night at the very least.
And I'll tell you about how I really believe in.
I am at the objective. Let's take it
The
quickly.
Mothman.
Okay, hold on.
Mothman talks to Alex. I'm not sure if you're aware of this.
I'm literally not aware of this. What?
No, he's not talking about that, but that was a good movie.
Rendezvous at my position.
I was gonna say, did you just like, did you rub yourself down with a very particular drug?
Ahlan.
No,
This Mothman
I
talks.
just, yeah, it's just a good, it's a future episode
Get
of the Illuminati Pod.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about. Yes, haunted chapstick and the Mothman at some point.
Indrid Cold.
I'm very excited. But while we may be known for talking about cryptids, aliens, and spooky ghosts, and that, some of us having our minds open to the idea that these things may or may not exist in some form, others of us may not. Today we're going down a different avenue.
A momentary
The
lapse.
world of facts, which is different, and true crime.
What?
I know.
I am claiming the objective.
Teleporter online. Quickly.
You're not
No. It's our first true crime episode. We've been talking about and hinting at doing some true crime in the past, and today is going to be the final first episode of doing it. Honestly, it was kind of at a whim a few weeks ago. I was on one of my trips. I saw this book, and I did a quick research. Is it good? Is it reliable, etc. And everybody's like,
Rendezvous
read
at
the book,
my
said it's
position.
phenomenal, and this particular author is very, very good at what he does. All he does is write true crime stuff. And the book in question, The Butcher, Anatomy of a Psychopath by Philip Carlo. This is the main source of research, as well as something that I could possibly do on names that I didn't recognize, and potential questions of whether what he's saying in here is true or not. And it's pretty up to date. And,
This will heal you.
factual. And this is the story of a man by the name of Tony he was a serial killer. There's really no other way to put it. He was a serial killer who worked within the mafia into the 80s and was finally arrested.
Yahi param vastavik
He had about a little over 10 years of him doing what he did in Gravesend, Brooklyn, New York, where he is believed
To me!
Everything in its
prison
place.
with
Girl, the Mahal.
prison because he was found to at least have killed 8. There was enough evidence and bodies to convict him.
Gravesend, Brooklyn.
Gravesend.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Very
I believe this story already.
He's from Murdertopia, Kill Sylvania.
yeah, he's from Kill Sylvania. God damn it. Yeah, no, it's true. That's where he was born and raised, and
Best
he
round.
operated for his entire life until he was arrested. He's still alive today in a prison in Kentucky, under 6 life sentences and some other punishments that were slapped on top of him as well. The dude was a monster. There's just no other way to look at it. The dude was a verifiable monster who...
Order
It's
will
as
be
though
restored.
you take any serial killer from the past and then give him the backings of the mafia and think about how rampant he can run for how long before he's finally brought down.
This is like when Tony Stark gave Spider-Man a new suit.
Right, except murdering.
I don't think
Right,
so.
Can I give you guys the hype on this guy really quick?
Yes,
Just for
please.
people who have no clue.
Yeah.
5, 4,
The thing that happened
3, 2, 1.
on August 11th,
Round
1990,
2. Capture the objective.
while he was in prison.
I was gonna say this is already while I was in prison.
You're not
While he was in prison.
but not good
An
either.
inmate was seriously assaulted Yet the incident report suggests there was
Take it down.
only because witnesses saw it happen. The inmate himself was pretty nervous. He actually died and didn't get assaulted. Only because people saw it happen. We know this happened.
The objective is now active.
All is going according to
This
plan.
guy didn't end his life, and there was no bruising or
My
whatever.
barrier can't take much more.
That
What?
No, that makes complete sense. And we'll
This
talk
is
about
like the kind of guy we're talking. Like he is a trained murderer.
Hello.
He is like really good at it. This is one of those things where they.
Check in.
Unless people were there and they saw it go down, they reported it. If no one was there, no one would have known that the guy got beat as bad as he did.
Yep.
What the hell did he
Sniper,
do?
get behind something.
It says
Thanks.
here
Nice
that
one.
he
Slapped his ass around
I
until
said,
he
this is what it
fell
says.
down?
Nevertheless, there were no people. Nevertheless, the man was repeatedly beaten about the face with a heavy metal object that was never found.
We will. Knowing what I know and doing all the research I did, that is completely believable, and we'll talk about why. So this is going to be a two-part episode. This
I will
this
follow
first
my
part, this
path.
episde that we're doing today, is going to talk about his
Teleporter
childhood
online.
up until the
Healing
point
enough.
of joining the
Swiftly.
mafia. And during this,
Thank
we'll
you.
actually learn about how he
You're
may have
not
been able to
bad.
beat somebody within an inch of their life
not
without anybody
good
ever being
either.
able to tell. And then episode 2, what we do for the next one, will be all about his life and his crime story in the Bonanno family, the family he worked for specifically. But in the Bonobo family.
Bonobos? Oh man, I hear their ads on TV all the time.
Yo, the bonobos are the only primates that fuck chasing
Yahi parambasta vikta hai.
You're powered up. Get in there.
There is nothing that will stand in my way.
But how about we just dive into Tommy and we learn as much as
Understood.
Tommy Patera, also
No
known
one
as
can hide
Karate
from my
Patera,
sight.
which Tommy Karate. That is the nickname the Mafia gave him. And I
There
will
is still
say
much to be done.
That's what he did to this dude.
Teleporter online.
Tommy, he
I
used
have
Tommy
opened the
Karate on him.
path.
yeah, he probably did use some Tommy Karate on him. Also, reading this book
Heal up.
and learning about all the people he worked with, they are the most Italian of Italian names, and I just got lost and confused as to who they were talking about. I had to go reread it like 3 times to
Double
set it
kill.
apart. It reads like a movie, like a mafia movie, and I am surprised there is no movie about Tommy Patera because the shit he did is incredible.
I am taking the objective.
There is still much to be done.
Good cover. Also known as Tommy Karate Patera,
Overtime.
the Butcher, and as Wacko, another name they gave him in the mafia
Teleporter
after
online.
converting Notorious
We
for
move
being
swiftly.
basically
After one of the Warner Brothers.
You are unworthy of the truth.
a notorious that worked with the Bonanno crime family in Brooklyn, New York between the years of 1976 and 1990, in which he was then arrested that December.
Play of the game.
In that time,
Probably looked awesome the whole time.
oh yeah,
Really good fashion.
oh that's everybody, you know, in the mafia always dressed to the nines, in suits and drove
Allow me
wonderful
to repair
cars. It's part of the allure of joining basically a crime ring.
I'm gonna picture Jeremy Renner.
Yes, Jeremy Renner. Well, you can actually look up the
like
picture.
Like a little chubbier Jeremy
Yeah,
Renner.
he's
Sure,
got a
yeah.
square jaw than I think Jeremy Renner, and definitely he's got a little bit more weight to him. But I actually can
And
see
he doesn't
Jeremy
know how to use a
Renner.
bow and arrow. And
No, just
right.
his
Not as good.
Tommy
he
Karate
never
fists.
he never fought a robot. Yeah.
Not as attractive to the NASCAR crowd.
Right. Yep. Of
Yeah.
course. In that time where he worked with the mafia, on top of all the crimes that tend to come along with working with the mafia, including theft, money launderings, and inner mafia family squabbles, Tommy Karate Patera is believed to have killed over 60 people during his reign of terror. And a reign of terror is the only way I can think of describing what he did. This man was, without a doubt, a serial killer. From his mannerisms to how he killed to what he did after he killed them to why he killed in the first place, everything that he did points to him being psychologically a serial killer. The real difference here was that this was a serial killer who had the full backing, support, and financial support of multiple, very powerful at the time, crime families, sanctioning his actions and rewarding him for those actions as well. Imagine a serial killer like Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer were able to do what they did, but they had millions of dollars behind them and many, many, many people covering their tracks for him. It's kind of a serial killer's wet dream in a lot of ways, where they get to be powerful and lord over the people they kind of deem underneath them, and then continue to kill kind of indiscriminately in a lot of ways because he can, and he enjoyed doing it.
So did he kill other people
that were not part of the mafia?
Like, did he like kill for the mafia, but then like, yo, if they got the right shape, it's time to do some Tommy karate?
So the way it went down, and we'll talk about specifics later, is that he was the go-to guy for all mafia. If anybody they wanted him out, they usually went to Tommy or one other person, and they typically worked together. But Tommy was the go-to guy. However, if anybody disrespected, he didn't like, talked down to him, or just generally rubbed Tommy the wrong way, he would kill them personally.
He would just be like, you shouldn't have made that joke about me.
Literally, that happens. Yes.
So he's like the Goodfellas character who's like, what am I, clown? Like, to make you laugh?
Joe
like
Pesci?
That? Yeah, Joe Pesci.
There is a comparison to Joe Pesci that people have for him, actually, due to his voice.
Like here for your amusement, like that kind of thing? He'd kill you?
Yeah, it would be a little less direct. He would always let them get away with it, and then 2 days later, he would set up a meeting under false pretenses and then kill them.
The true enemy of humanity is disorder.
He always needed all of his tools available. This is a man who carried autopsy tools with him so he could dismember the bodies in his way afterward. Like, this was not somebody he would just kind of go off.
Teleporter online.
They were
I
always
have
thought
opened
out,
the path.
and it always went his way, and he had his own personal burial ground, which we'll talk about So, but let's rewind. Let's go all the way back to when Tommy was born on December 1994 in Gravesend.
My work is not complete. My teleporter is online.
Hello.
Totally not real.
Guys,
What
can
part
we
is
wake
this?
up and
The
do something in
Gravesend
team
one?
that's
All
gonna
of
be
this
real cool?
My ult is charging.
The fact that he said grave send,
Yes.
as in he sends you to your grave.
Fucking wake up. When you kill someone, let's go on the point. Group up with me.
No one can hide from my sight. My barrier's about to go.
Synchronicity is another.
Come on, push. We can
Yeah,
push
but like
a
the
bit.
murder
We
version
can
of
push a bit. Don't go.
Like where like good is just like
More or less.
Let's go.
Double kill. I'm planting my flag at this point.
Where they were all very
I've got you covered.
Yeah, go on her.
loving family.
यही परम वास्तविकता है.
Hello. Hello there. Hello.
I am at the objective.
Nice.
We
Point.
must take it quickly.
Stay on it. Thank you. That was not difficult.
Come on, try me.
Dad would drive around all of the boroughs with his car packed
Oi,
with
puta.
delicious treats. Mary Jane's, Pixie Sticks, Bazooka Gum, and more. He just
Play
drove around.
of
He
the
was
game.
a door-to-door candy salesman. Kind of like the Ice Cream Man, but creepier.
Yeah, there's like a guy who's like not the ice cream man who like shows up outside my house sometimes, and he like does his little stuff and then like he's
Double
in the
kill.
truck. And he's got like a few snacks. He's got like fruit and stuff. Everybody loves him, but it's just it's not an ice cream man, and that's why it's weird.
It sounds like a street food vendor, though.
He's like a guy. It's like a 7-Eleven that's like in front of your house for a
few seconds. This is gonna last like an hour.
Yeah, he just comes and sets up for a minute, and then he's off. It's exactly like an ice cream man. Like he's always on the move.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So I have a point of reference for this.
Yeah, you have a weird point of reference. But
Yeah.
this guy doesn't have a truck. Apparently, he drove around his own car. Is what his dad did.
That's very strange.
Yeah, it was in his all the candy was in the trunk of his car, and that's what
It's
he
like
sold.
somebody gave him the job of candy salesman, and then he never like asked anyone or looked up what you do when you sell candy.
Right. It's not.
He read the vacuum salesman book, and he did that.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly. He's like, I will do this, but for candy. Children love candy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Now it isn't entirely clear
Traveling
whether his mother
to
had a
Route
job, but the way it
66.
sounds is that the mother was a stay-at-home mom, which is not surprising for the
Prepare your defenses.
Point being stable home life.
Select your hero.
etc. Yeah, exactly. But it did seem as though she was stay at home, like I said, and took care of her kids the best she could. There's no stories of parental abuse or weird shit that happened, though it's possible that did happen, and we just never got the story from Tommy or people who knew him when he was growing up.
Yeah, maybe it was more like a phantom thread, very passive-aggressive.
Yeah, because the thing with serial killers, it kind of always runs through is there's always childhood trauma, usually sexual childhood trauma, or some sort of the father is absent and they're raised by just their mother, and things are really weird.
The
at
true
home.
enemy of humanity is disorder.
The case with Tommy here, and it's possible he was just kind of a fucked up guy. Regardless, however, parents can't always protect their kids from everything.
I will strike our enemies where
while
they do
aren't,
not
especially while the parents aren't around. And while from everything I was able to look up, it seemed Tommy had a relatively normal childhood. He was what
I'm ready to kill.
Or at the least,
Teleporter online.
Greetings.
We
he
move
had
swiftly.
straight jet black hair, blue-gray eyes,
Attackers
hell of a jawline,
incoming
as well as
in
being
30
thin
seconds.
and pale. He was a target of plenty of bullying. But the thing that got him the most negative attention all through his life up until today was his high-pitched voice. Many people said it's more akin to a girl's voice than a
Once the
boy's.
mission
Tons of people
starts,
compared it to
no
Mickey
more
Minnie
messing
Mouse,
around.
and that voice would remain with him until this very day. And it was the reason he got made fun of a ton.
5.
What the?
Four,
Okay, so
3,
he
2.
he'd
one.
be like,
Attackers
it up.
incoming.
"I'll see you in 2 days,"
Stop the payload.
like that kind of thing.
making fun of me? I got a silence glue. Yeah. Oh my god. Do we have
you
Mickey
ever heard him
the
talk?
serial killer?
Have you ever heard him talk?
No, I can't find
Sniper,
any recordings of
be
him.
wary.
I don't.
Yeah.
I didn't want to record my voice, not what the fishes say.
Oh, Mickey the serial killer, you're just the most adorable cartoon.
I'll take him out on Steamboat Willie. Give him some of my Tommy Karate. I smoke drugs. I smoke drugs.
I smoke.
I smoke drugs. Oh, boy.
Oh my
Hold
god.
up now.
Okay,
I am restored.
small, pale, and high-pitched voice, Tommy was the perfect target for childhood bullying, especially in grade school. It was a town filled with blue-collar workers and laborers. Here, the rules of
The deepest voiced town of 1950.
honestly, the way it sounds, like all the guys walking around, just shirtless, muscular, sweaty, scarred. I imagine everybody just looks like a mean motherfucker back then.
Yahi paramvastavik hai.
Ripped his pants.
And then Tommy crying.
I ripped off your arm.
Oh. Here, the rule of law was stopped with that. Here, the rule of law was basically stopped with the person being hurt. Whoever was the last man standing was the winner of the argument. That's all it took. Someone say something nasty, then you better give it back, but 10 times worse. Get punched, you better swing and aim to knock out some teeth that do more damage. Last one standing is the winner. End of story. And poor Tommy, poor motherfucker, he never won anything. Every day, sometimes multiple times a day, Tommy would be picked on, made fun of, kicked, punched, teased for how he looked and how he sounded. And being small and frail meant he could do almost nothing to fight back.
So he went to the desert.
No one can hide from my sight.
You don't know how close to reality you are.
What do you mean?
Oh, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it in this episode.
Okay.
All right. And one might think Paul would go to his parents. At least that's what I did. So I don't know about you two, but in high school and elementary school, I was the subject of torment forever. I was short. I had a high-pitched voice until I was a junior in high school.
Oh, jeez, mother.
I got shoved in. I literally got shoved in a locker. Like that happened to me.
I know the vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, I got picked on and punched all the time. So just while there may be a level of empathy for people who get picked on, and I have that empathy for you, it is in no way an excuse to become And I went to my parents as well. You know, they helped me deal with it, and it was healthy for me to do it. But
Or
Tom,
maybe we're all just keeping it real chill. Like all of us who in high school.
right deep down. The seed of-
We just are. We're just really good at it.
What would be your mafia assassin nickname?
Sleepy.
Alex
Yahi
Sleepy
paramvastavik hai.
Yeah. It's gotta be me.
Jesse the Joker. Jesse the Fish.
Yep, that's like your.
That's like your drive time. That's your drive time DJ name. Sleepy and the fish.
What about Mike?
Thank you.
Mike is boring Martin. I got nothing.
No,
Mike is boring Martin?
You'd be like,
Teleporter online. I have opened the
I
path.
don't know, they call
Exactly.
you like...
Exactly.
No, they call you like the cheese.
The forgettable?
Yeah,
the
Mike.
cheese?
They call you...
Chili beans.
Yeah. Oh my god, chili beans is better. Yeah.
My will.
It makes sense.
I was gonna say.
That makes no sense. It's perfect.
No, it'll make sense.
Get in there.
Double kill. Surrender to my will. Double kill.
It will make sense, but
I will follow my
so like I
path.
said, Tommy didn't go to his parents. That was just a weird tangent. The only people who could protect him at this time would be them, and instead, he didn't want to seem weak to them. So he hid it. He would come home, pretend nothing would happen, and more often than not, he would go to his room and cry. When he would cry out everything that happened that day, which is also how I did that part. But his parents never knew, and he always had this facade of everything was going to be okay. So nobody really knew he was kind of being
Death
tortured
is an
as a
illusion.
kid.
Come over here.
So, my brain literally, I had a tangent, and it's
Teleporter
gone.
online.
And
We
it's
move
gone.
swiftly.
Oh well. But while he cried, he would always envision getting his revenge, as even I did. I think. You know, not necessarily murdering them, but being put on back. Yeah.
You know, like when you get beaten down a little bit,
You want to punch him back, right? You just fantasize.
Yahi parambasta victahe.
Come on, we've all, even on smaller scales, we've all been in the shower, right, and thought of the perfect comeback to an argument we had. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in the shower, you're jacking off, you're thinking about how to get back at your bullies.
See, that is the mix for serial killer. Mixing your sexual fantasies with your violent ones.
Oh,
Yeah,
do it.
everyone knows that.
Don't do
Guys,
it.
just don't mix them.
Don't mix.
Everyone knows that.
Don't cross the streams for that.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Death
But like I
is
said,
an
he
illusion.
wanted to get his revenge in at least some way, and he would. At least he would try. So being unable to fight back, being scrawny, pale, nerdy, high pitched, Tommy went the more subtle route. He would steal things,
Stop the payload.
and then he would go on the street
Ready
and
to
talk them
start
quick,
the
quick,
blizzard.
quick. He would never tell the people that he was stealing them. He would just do it. And it's kind of his way of giving the middle finger to everybody who fucked him over in the past and make some quick cash in the process. The
Like
only
you just like steal somebody's like iPhone and sell it.
yeah.
kind of thing?
So the example, one of the examples that's out there is he stole one of his bullies' Little League gear, and he would then hawk it on the street. You know, a few days later, make a quick buck, get rid of it, and basically his way of getting back at him.
I would like pay money to watch that exchange go. Hey man, you need a Little League gear? who wants to know? Me.
Hey, Tommy, where'd you get that stuff, man?
What stuff?
Oh, right. Okay. See you later.
What stuff? See you later.
Exactly. See you later. But no amount of thieving would stop the bullying, and he would have to endure it for a while still. Many years, in fact. It wouldn't be until Tommy saw the TV show Green Hornet that his mind would venture toward violence as a more acceptable solution in his mind.
No.
I know, right? Really weird. Specifically, he had a fascination with Bruce Lee and his martial arts, because he played Kato, I think, which was a Green Hornet sidekick on that show.
Yeah.
Kato?
Kato? Is it Kato? Kato?
Yeah, it's Kato. It's Kato.
I've never seen Green Hornet, actually. I've never seen it.
It's literally, if you, like, imagine the exact same TV show as Batman, the like classic Adam West Batman.
Yep. That kind of stuff.
Except Robin is Bruce Lee and Batman is the Green Hornet.
Okay. Is it good, though?
It's exactly the same thing as Batman. So
Okay.
it's like very hokey, lots of like walking on the ground and turning the camera to go up the side of a
True
building.
enemy
Yeah,
of
yeah,
humanity
I got
is
you.
disorder.
Yeah, that makes sense, though. I mean, that was kind of like the special effects of the time. And there's kind of a charm to it, I admit.
Yeah. Plus Bruce Lee did like sick moves.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And actually, that's immediately who he connected with, Tommy. He connected with Bruce Lee instantaneously in Bruce Lee's character, who beat up the bad guys and always showed respect to those he deemed innocent and worthy, especially women. From here, Tommy would entangle his fantasies of being a martial arts master, respected while being still respectful in return, and his urge for revenge and power. Specifically, power over those he deemed under him. After all, Green Hornet was all about street justice, and that's the only kind of justice Tommy had ever known.
Wow, so he really did go join the League of Shadows.
Oh,
He really did.
He did. And it's incredible, his weird journey that led him to become who he became. So, but if Green Hornet hadn't been enough for him, Bruce Lee's first major motion picture, Marlowe in 1969, would be more than enough. Okay, as a man who has never seen Marlowe, tell me why that excites me.
Marlowe is about, like, Philip Marlowe, the like, you know.
Thank you.
What's the name of the guy? Chandler?
Rendezvous at my position.
Like Raymond Chandler, detective, and Bruce Lee's basically just like a ninja of that.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. He's Winslow. I forget what his last name is. It's like Charlie Chan type name.
Oh, okay.
And he's just like literally a kung fu master that like is in the movie for a minute.
Oh, all right. Well, that was like the last hook he
Enemy
needed.
in my sights.
From then on, Tommy was hooked on martial arts.
Teleporter online.
From passing interest, from what was initially passing interest, rather, to a full-blown.
His name, by the way, his name was Winslow Wong.
Winslow Wong.
I knew Winslow because I could never forget Winslow because when I first saw the movie, I only saw Winslow.
Yes, that's when you said Winslow. I was like,
yeah, exactly. But I can't remember. Wong.
Winslow Wong.
I was gonna say Winslow Wang. I'm glad I didn't guess.
The payload.
Right.
Sniper.
Interesting. I think that's a great. I love the
Payload
early.
has reached the checkpoint.
Very, very early Marvel comics. Yeah.
Yeah, incredibly. But anyway, his interest from martial arts was just kind of an interest initially, like a hobby. But after this movie, it literally became, like I said, a full-blown obsession. It's all he cared about, all he thought about, the only thing he wanted to do. He embraced everything about it.
Yahi parambasta vikta hai.
On you, to the sense of honor and duty surrounding it. Never pick a fight. Turn the other cheek unless absolutely forced. Be righteous and respectful. And he was all of those things for a time.
So can I just like, clarify something then?
Yeah.
So he just like he didn't actually like go to a martial arts class right away. He just was like he like ripped it up. He like assumed the philosophy.
He assumed the
like,
philosophy and started taking lessons locally.
Okay, so he did take some karate.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, he took a lot of karate. He was
My teleporter is online.
like in it to win it. The dude was completely utterly obsessed. And after elementary school, because all this was happening and then once high school came along, Tommy was becoming a different person. The Tommy that everyone had known, the shy one, pale kid, weird-looking, high-pitched voice, just weak in general, had been replaced with a bigger and scarier Tommy. He now walked with his head held high, shoulders squared and had a very commanding, confident voice. No longer was he fragile, but the utter dedication to martial arts over the years had Tommy complete muscular body. His fists had flattened from punching a punching bag untold amount of times over the years. He had a massive six-pack, and he had long black hair emulating that of his hero, Bruce Lee. Tommy was an entirely different person.
Online.
All systems checked
opened
out.
Bruce Lee's hair on anybody who's like at least a little bit Chinese run out. Hard for me to, I'm thinking of like Mo from the Three Stooges.
If it helps, his parents kind of compared him to a hippie, more or less.
My teleporter is online.
Yeah, his parents compared him to a hippie when it came to how he looked in his life.
Sure.
So, but
Weird.
Yahi parambasta vikta hai.
and though his voice was still high-pitched, it's as though he trained as hard as he did to compensate for that voice. His hands and feet were weapons now, and he knew it. People would take wide berths around him, the bullies would bully him and stop completely, and he had the attention of girls, which was something a little strange. Really? Yeah, see, if there's a negative aspect about you, you can always compensate. comedy is a great compensation. Or learning karate. Yes, you know, that too. That too.
Do what I did. Be funny.
Fire in the hole!
I honestly think, and this is why I wrote this down, I honestly believe that if Tommy had maybe grown up somewhere else, I do wonder if he would have become somebody different. If his respect and his honor and his duty and everything he really cherished and idolized about not only Bruce Lee but the martial arts mindset would have turned him into somebody that could be respected and kind of lived a normal life. But
I wonder what would have happened if he watched Bonanza instead of
No one can hide from
or Batman,
my
even, for that matter.
Batman, yeah, but see, I wonder if he would have taken. I wonder if he would have looked at Batman and been like, Batman doesn't finish the job. He needs to kill the bad guys.
Oh my damn! That would have been even. Then we would have had freaking the Punisher.
Or the Joker, straight up.
Yeah. He's like, yo, the Joker's got me good.
right. And Arthur. He's like,
yeah.
But he didn't turn into something different, unfortunately, for basically all of his victims from here on out. He was born
in Dead Body, California.
He was born in
Gravesend sterben nicht.
in the 50s and 60s, a place completely, almost hilariously, openly run by the mafia.
Yahi param vastavik tahe.
Together, and even had a mafia, like a council of the heads of all the families that would get together once a week, have dinner, and talk about everything they were doing, how to work with each other and stay out of each other's territory.
A momentary lapse.
Like The Sopranos?
Yes.
Straight up?
Yes.
Like, just straight up, just
No,
like that?
the more I read, the more The Sopranos clearly has influence from actual mafia men.
My ultimate is
You know, you
No one
read
can
stories
hide
about the
from
mafia,
my
and you're like,
sight.
yeah, I mean, the mafia, I get it. Like, they're like the crime family. I like, you know, you see The Godfather, you understand how the rules work.
My
Then,
ultimate
like,
is ready.
I was listening to a podcast about, what's his name? That, like, super jerk guy from New Jersey. Chris Christie.
this.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, that is, like, exactly how it still works. It's, like, still very much just, like, controlled by, like, people behind the scenes. You know?
It's wild,
That
man.
is so strange. That is just, like,
Back in
not a
my
thing we
day,
have
we
right
have
now.
this payload delivered already.
Well, I mean, Vegas was.
Yeah. But out on the East Coast, more so.
Yeah. I just like LA, it just doesn't have
Sterben
that.
nicht.
I guess there's enough, like, legit rich people here that it's different. Like,
They run their own
the
mafia. It's called
yeah,
corporation.
the entertainment industry. Yeah.
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But like back then, and maybe I mean I'm sure it's just nowadays. But back then, they just
I will
openly
correct
were
my
everywhere. They had
mistakes.
nothing to hide. They didn't care. They could.
And they look like you think they did, too.
Exactly as you think they would did. They could be seen driving all their fancy cars, living lavish, almost royal lifestyles. Sure, the cops were around, but if they weren't bought off by the mafia, then those were those that were able to put any criminals behind bars. Those criminals were very quickly replaced. Gravesend seemed to be and there was always someone eager to jump into the promise of riches and beautiful women, no matter the cost. So they basically let the kids who grew up
Yahi param.
and just kind of romanticizing the mafia, they were easy to
Meteor strike.
If anybody in the mafia lost somebody, somebody else to recruit.
Yahi param.
Never ending stream of just criminals. So there's
I will
very
correct
little
my
Hydra.
mistakes.
yeah, there's very little the cops did, and like I said, there was a ton of crooked cops. If it wasn't
Teleporter
for, if it
online.
wasn't for
We
a
move
couple of
swiftly.
heroes we'll talk about in the second episode in the FBI that did everything they could to put this man behind bars. Like
Enemies revived.
It's insane, and it's almost like the movies that we see all the time.
Nanopool is ready to deploy.
I mean, that's exactly
Well,
what those
it's
movies are
charging.
fucking about.
Yeah,
Like the real-ass mafia.
It's crazy. I always thought that was fantasy, but it's not. Anyway, and Tommy, and more importantly, he really wanted it. It would afford him the money and life he always dreamed of, while giving him that ultimate fantasy of
I will
power that he
correct
could
my
lord over
mistakes.
those he deemed not worthy. He saw his father in the menial job that he worked as a candy salesman and door-to-door candy salesman, and decided that he really wanted more than that. And
I'm not over this candy sales. That is literally what his job was, right?
door-to-door
He's
candy
literally-
salesman, yeah.
Literally the very exact thing that you warn your children
My ultimate is
not
ready.
to ever interact with or talk to. If there's a man and he says he has candy in his car and you've never seen him before and he wants to give you some, do not talk to that man.
No, not at all. But I wonder if that warning comes from these days, where there are people going door to door selling candy.
Yeah,
that blows my mind. It was a different time, man. The 50s and 60s were wild. But the 50s and 60s, fascinatingly enough, and the 70s to an extent, were rife with serial killers. Like, it is insane. And the theories as to why are just as fascinating. One of the things that's talked about a little bit in the book is like this era of time where there were so many serial killers. Science will reveal the truth. There's basically two dominating theories as to why they were so prevalent. One being lack of surveillance, like they have surveillance. My will made real.
Time grows short on the planet.
Very long. Another one that I've read that people think is lead. Lead was everywhere and in everything, and it's shown that lead can cause aggression. Really fuck with that, especially if you're restore you. Taking it into your body constantly. People are wondering if lead attributed or helped in some way serial killers.
Allow me to repair the damage.
I got a lot of questions. This is just kind of a tangential theory that
Right. I feel like
this will heal you.
Mostly because there wasn't surveillance for millennia, right?
Get into position.
Serial killers
Right cover.
Surrender. If we say
Meteor strike.
Because the first time someone could get someplace very fast, that could kill someone and be gone, and no one would know, and you could
just hop on a train and you're just out.
Hell, you could literally get in a car and drive away, and you know, up until recently that wasn't a thing.
Yeah. Well, something fascinating about serial killers, they always operate almost, the FBI have their own way to profile, and serial killers almost always, their first kills at the very least are always near where they live, or at least in the town where they live.
Where their first tries.
Or successes, because it's where they're comfortable, it's where they know the ins and outs, and they feel safer there.
You gotta be comfortable with your work.
Yeah, of course, yeah, of course. But the thing is with that as well, like, the idea of a serial killer killing somebody without motivation, even if they operate in the same town, it can still be very hard to figure out who it is, especially if it's a true serial killer, because a serial killer can be struck with the urge to kill at any point, seeing any person, even if they're not attached to them in any way.
Yeah, it's not logical.
It's not logical. It's very hard to track them down.
Prepare your defenses.
Forensic sciences were still budding and new, especially back then.
And even now, we don't actually know what the fuck. We're just like better at. We've just had more experience.
Well, yeah.
Like,
look at the Zodiac Killer. We never caught the Zodiac Killer, and it's possible the Zodiac Killer inspired a ton of people to be copycats and take on his name.
I think it's the celebrity. I think it's the celebrity aspect that really has created the serial killer like idea that we have.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. That'd be a fun topic, just serial killers in general, in a future episode. But yeah, that's just something kind of a little tangential thing that they talked about.
The true enemy of humanity is disorder.
Arthur Lee Allen. Let's be fucking real about that. That's who Zodiac was.
I don't know who that is.
It's the obvious suspect for the Zodiac.
Gotcha. And not to get too deep into it, but if he's the obvious suspect, why there's no evidence that it's actually him? Because a lot of circumstantial, I'm assuming.
Pretty much. I mean, like, I read the book about
attackers
the murders that was like the one that they based the movie off of.
My teleporter is online.
And that one is like, it's one of those books that you just love to find where it's somebody who just like has no connection to it, who just gets like super obsessed with it, and then just like becomes very connected to it, which is just like my favorite type of book to read. And so I read I went down a Kennedy rabbit hole one time. I went down a Zodiac rabbit hole one time. If you haven't seen that movie, you should. That Chilluminati, like Zodiac Chilluminati, is like
swiftly.
You know, walking the line between mystery and true crime.
Right.
I would love to talk about the Zodiac.
Anyone needs some healing?
100%. Yeah, that's another fact. But back to Tommy Patera. While Mr. Patera, or should we call him Tommy Karate?
Karate is like,
Tommy Karate, come on! It's a Tommy Karate!
my boy, Tommy Karate.
While he fantasized and kind of romanticized the idea of the mafia, it would still be a long time before he would be known to become the Butcher for a while. And his martial arts training would carry him still a bit further before that would happen. And the biggest turning point, the point where we really see Tommy turn the corner.
This is Street Fighter. This is fucking Street Fighter.
So yeah, while this is the point right here where Tommy takes his first big turn, where we start to see the serial killer start coming out. A large martial arts tournament was held in Brooklyn's Sheep's Head Bay. That would be his next step. If he won, he would win a substantial cash prize, prestige, and would be lauded, and 100% would be lauded as the winner if it was him. But most importantly, he would also win what they deemed a scholarship to go and live in Japan and study under one of Japan's most respected martial artists at the time.
Get the fuck out of here!
And win is exactly what Tommy did. And so he was sent off to Japan to study martial arts.
No, he's fucking literally Tommy Karate.
Yeah, he is literally Tommy Karate. It is real.
No.
Yes.
Tommy Karate, codename 47. This is like shit.
He was a monstrously good at martial arts and beat everybody in the tournament that was held in New York. And was literally flown off to Japan to practice and train.
And then he changed his name to Sagat. And got uppercutted in the chest.
And maybe surprisingly or unsurprisingly, when Tommy arrived in Japan, he took to Japanese life instantly. He was already considered a loner at home, and so he kind of embraced that, became more focused, and used it to his advantage.
That was got like the polite treatment, but still the ostracized.
Yeah, but he loved that. He loved being left alone, and that was like and all that loneliness was amplified in Japan because, like you said, people were polite.
He killed people in Japan?
No, he did not.
This will heal.
He would never do that.
he wouldn't become a killer yet. It was the sense of honor, duty, and the samurai way of thinking that was still around in a post-World War II.
It's still around now, dude.
Remember
when the Sony guy, when the Sony CEO or whatever, he bowed for like 30 seconds after everybody's passwords got
That's right.
Like that, it's still very much there.
Yeah, and that he loved that. Tommy, it stuck with Tommy instantaneously, and he began to train under his new sensei, whose name was Hiroshi Masumi. 7 days
ready to deploy.
His diet changed while he was there to rice and fish almost exclusively, and because of that, he had bigger and stronger. More efficient at fighting, trained as hard as he possibly could every single day, and when he wasn't he read. And what he read was almost exclusively war, fighting, how to kill, and human anatomy. And those books would be found at the arrest of Tommy Karate. And they were well read, dog-eared pages, and he voraciously consumed how the best was to fight and kill other people. That was his obsession in Japan.
60 seconds.
Gotta be honest, so far, super inspiring.
Thank you.
Very well.
Team up for special attack.
Like right here,
yeah.
super inspiring story.
Yep, it would be if it ended here or ended in a way it could have ended that we're about to get to. So while he was there, it's as though all he gave a shit about now was being the best fighter he possibly could be. And while that was an obsession in the U.S., in Japan, he got to live, eat, and breathe it. There was nothing else for him to do. No family, no job, nothing. All he had to do was fight and live in Japan, while slowly turning the best fighter into the best killer. In Japan, what was once his passion truly and completely became his life. And when that scholarship ended, he actually took up a job in Japan and extended his stay there as long as he could train more. It would be 27 months before he would be home. 27 months of living and breathing nothing but martial arts.
He just did like Japanese murder work study.
Yeah, more. That's exactly how he treated it at the very least. Like you say, like in a joking way, but it's true.
What in the
Victory.
27 months of living, breathing, nothing like I said, but that, and consuming all of the books, How to Kill Your Opponents the Best Way. That's all he read. Irreversibly tying them together in his mind. The Tommy that left the U.S. was dangerous, but the one that would return...
You're powered up. Get in there.
I've got you in my sights. Resistance.
In 1976, Tommy would return home to Gravesend. As much as he left it, it was still run by the Mafia, specifically the Bonanno crime family.
Bananos in pajamas.
Listen, if you're listening, Bonanno crime family, it's all good, man. Don't worry.
Please don't kill me. Holy
yeah, right.
shit.
Don't. We're here to tell, make stories, and laugh, and make fun of your ridiculous, terrible, horrendous, you should be behind bars crimes.
I didn't even realize you guys were real until I heard about
until today.
Please let me be.
And his dream
welcome our
Bonanno
crime
overlord
family. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Are you Jesse Karate?
Defenses. Select your hero.
Hey, what you know about that?
Hey, Jesse Karate over here. Highest voice, highest kicks. Here we are.
No, I'm just mesmerized by this story. This is so bonkers so far. And if this was a movie, Jean-Claude Van Damme would be Tommy Karate. He'd come back and win a tournament, and then that'd be the end of the movie. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So far, this is nonsense. This is insanity.
He would kick that bully's ass so
Yeah, the
hard.
bullies that beat him up, he'd go back and he'd beat them up.
The true enemy
But he
of
would let them
humanity
live
is
is
disorder.
the difference.
Have you seen Jean-Claude Van Damme movies? I don't think so.
You don't think so? He would have murdered them?
He would have broken those men, yeah.
Broken them in a Batman way,
much
though?
for waiting around.
No, broken them in, like, I snapped their arms off kind of way. Yeah.
Well,
Stick to the plan.
upon returning to the U.S., all those
bail
dreams
you
of a
out.
luxurious life were still there. They hadn't left him. But instead, they were now kind of closer than ever.
Incoming.
Tommy
in
wasn't
30
a
seconds.
kid anymore. The years in Japan had ensured that. He was stoic and respectful. He
Rendezvous
toyed
at my
with the
position.
idea of opening his own martial arts school in the area when he moved back. And that would have been the most
My
story
teleporter
ending
is online.
I would have hoped for.
If he just did that, he would have been fine.
Right, came back, you know, he's this fucking ripped, this one
5,
little, like,
4,
meek, pale
3,
nerd, becomes,
2,
like, the best martial artist
Attackers
in his
incoming.
area at the very least.
Defend
Opens up a
objective
karate.
A.
It's like Karate Kid, the resurgence that's happening right now. Have any of you seen that?
The Cobra Kai show?
Yeah, the Cobra Kai show.
I haven't seen it yet. I
So-
hear it's pretty good.
Yeah, apparently it's actually great. And what was the punk's name in the original movies? I can't remember. The blonde one. Yeah, so
This is not the end.
oh yeah, but the story actually follows him more than the other one, and he actually opens up his own martial arts school and starts teaching kids how to defend themselves. and stuff.
Yeah, if he did that, it would have been similar.
Right. It's as though it's like the Karate Kid villain became a serial killer. Is what we got instead.
This is literally like a guy that works for M. Bison. This is like indistinct. Like if the new Street Fighter came out and there's a guy named Tommy in the game, like it's this guy. Straight up.
I would not doubt it. But unfortunately for everybody in the next 12 or so years, that's not what Tommy did. He toyed with the idea, but he looked at his father and saw two roads. The roads to menial work, even if it meant owning his own karate school, or the means to riches and mansions and kind of fame in
Yahi
his local area.
param
Most importantly, he saw all the Mafia had and wanted it all as well. And it wouldn't be long before he was hanging out with a man by the name of Anthony Bruno Indelicato.
How does he handle things? He's very indelicate.
I will correct my mistakes.
Yeah,
I cannot believe that's his real name.
Anthony Bruno Indelicato, a man who was known purely and respected fully by the Mafia for how readily he would kill someone. His nickname from the Mafia was Whack Whack. Anthony Whack Whack Indelicato.
Whack Whack and Delicato.
Nope, they called him Whack Whack because he would just whack people.
Did you just call him Killer?
We didn't say. Listen, the Mafia. There's a lot of things. Creative isn't one of them.
Good at making up nicknames. You know what though? I want to say, low key, they're pretty good at making up nicknames.
Heroes never die.
Whack Whack is like a name you would give to like a cat that got hurt and you nursed it back to health, right? But that's the murderer.
Is
that you give a cat
It is now.
You know, like you'd name a cat like
My
Stinky.
work is not complete.
Butts, whack whack. Like, you know, I don't know. It's like a just like a weird name for like, I don't know. It's funny that that's like
we know have a cat named Butts.
Yes.
Justice reigns from above.
But I just mean like whack whack is like not a fun, like not a doesn't.
Justice
like a
reigns from above.
It's not funny. It's very indelicate.
A momentary lapse.
We gotta get this guy killed.
Teleporter online.
Whack, whack.
I have opened the bar.
That's the whackity whack. Don't talk.
They
won't ever talk back again.
Oh, he's got like a calling card and everything. He's got a business card with that saying.
Whackity whack. Don't ever talk back again.
Oh shit.
Somebody
He
make
got it
us
done by the guy that did the band that did Yakety Yak.
Yeah.
Exactly. They owed the mob some money. They were like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
I will
we'll do
follow
it,
my
please.
path.
Yeah, please leave us alone. The way they describe and the way they talk about Mr. Whack Whack is that he cared more about how he looked and how he presented himself than those he
Yahi
He was
parambasta
very
victahe.
dismissive of those he killed. He saw them nothing more as work and business than as actual people.
I was just thinking that. He was like controlling his business. He was that guy.
Yeah, that's how they describe him. He was very much just a business kind of guy. He may have killed a lot of people, but that was his job. And while that's terrible and he hopefully is in prison, they don't really say in the book, you know, it didn't seem like at the very least he had the mannerisms of a serial killer like Mr.
I will
Patera.
correct my
But
mistakes.
Mr. Delicato, Whack Whack, whatever, would
The
meet
payload
Tommy
is approaching
eventually,
its
very shortly after he
destination.
came back from Japan. And very shortly after that, Mr. Indelicato would introduce Tommy to the Bonanno crime family. And for one reason or another, maybe they had similar ideals, maybe they had a very similar mindset, but Anthony Indelicato really grew close and kind of looked out for Tommy in almost every single way. Tommy, on the other hand, respected Anthony Indelicato, but Mr. I don't know, fucking Anthony, Tony was a massive drug addict.
Tony Whack Whack.
Cocaine and heroin were his drugs of choice, and if there's one thing about Tommy that sticks with him other than his high-pitched voice, is his disdain for drugs. At least
He's
taking
straight
them.
edge.
He would sell.
Hell yes, he's straight edge. He went to Japan to become a martial arts master.
Yeah,
that
you're right.
dude is the most straight edge guy who ever. He kills, but he's like, drugs are bad.
He would dabble in them once in a while, but he always said, and the thing that people repeat constantly is that he loved to say he had control over the drugs. The drugs didn't have control over him.
Oh, never mind. He wasn't straight edge.
Just don't tell him how Bruce Lee died.
Right.
Welcome to Hollywood.
It's one of those things though that as they talk
attack.
about him, he was while people were
Select
partying and
your
getting
hero.
high and all this stuff, he never did. He always left. He never did. He never really participated, and a lot of that comes from his paranoia of always being listened or watched, and he never wanted to get caught unaware where somebody could kill him easily because he was stoned or high. He respected himself, I guess, at the very least that way. So while he and Tommy and Tony kind of grew close to one another, it wouldn't be long till after Tommy was brought into the Bonanno crime family that Mr. Indelicato would kind of be left by the wayside by Tommy because he was used up for all he was worth.
Now that they had a real fucking murderer,
The true enemy of
samurai,
humanity is
karate
disorder.
hands murderer.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Bonanno crime family themselves immediately took a liking to Tommy. He
My
was well put
teleporter
together,
is
well
online.
dressed, respectful, and built
it's
like a
them
motherfucking
coin.
truck. Everything, he was fully Italian as well, and something about the Mafia, at least during this time, I'm sure it's true at least now, they do not take anybody that is not of pure
Teleporter
Italian
online.
blood.
We move
So
swiftly.
that helped him quite a lot. And eventually, with
Attack
Bruno's
commences
blessing,
in 30 seconds.
with Bruno's
I
help,
would take
rather,
my
which is
bow
somebody that
against
that
your
Anthony,
rifle
he's
any
got so many
day.
names. This is why I
That
got
would be the
confused
last
all the time.
mistake you ever made.
The Bonanno crime family would take Tommy in as an associate. An associate is someone who works and is paid by the family to
moment to
do
enjoy some peace
kind
and
of
quiet.
side work,
Probably
busy work,
just a
but they're not yet a made man. A made man in Mafia means there's a whole ceremony to it. You are fully inducted into the family and are trusted with their secrets. More
One.
profitable work, but
Attack
also more
commencing.
dangerous work.
Capture
Does that mean they'll
objective
always do
A.
right by you too?
That which is
According to their code of ethics, yes. As long as you follow their code of ethics, they will always defend you, do what they can to get you out of trouble, and look out for you. But if you cross them in any way, any minor way, that was grounds for
Sniper, be ready.
that was kind of their law.
So low stress job. Yeah.
Yeah, low stress job, right? But if you become a made man and you make it to old age, usually, you know, you are now a major boss. The rankings of the way the Mafia work is very much kind of reminiscent of a video game. There's like the head boss, the sub bosses, and then there's their lieutenants.
A second chance.
The lieutenants usually have their own little associates.
My teleporter is online.
But for now, Tommy was just a glorified runner boy. But soon Patera would earn his bones.
I am at the
A
objective.
saying that they use.
We
and
must
get his
take it
first
quickly.
order to murder somebody.
That means getting an order to kill somebody.
Yes. When you earn your bones, you are given, basically it's your opportunity, not necessarily to become a made man, but it could be that way, but to be more than an associate at the very least. And what they would do is they'll give you a target to kill, but they will not give you the reason that the person is being killed. They will only give you who it is and where he can be found, and you are just to do it if you want to be anything more than an associate. And because Tommy had done nothing but practice how to kill and kind of led the past many years of his life learning how to fight and kill, he did it without questioning, without delay.
As we get into this.
Teleporter online. I have opened
Did
the
he
box.
kill with guns? Or is it as, like, I don't want to say cool, because murder is never cool, but did he, like, come out of nowhere with, like, ninja skills?
Captain, it appears his face had been punched off.
So
did he use his talents to
There
kill,
is still
or did he
much
just
to
shoot
be
people?
done.
Because that's boring if you just shot people. But if he, like, came out of the night like an evil Batman and just took dudes out.
Tommy Patera killed many different ways. A gun is a tool he would use regularly. He used ice picks a lot. He would use knives. He would use swords. He had a collection of swords. Yeah, he had swords that he would use to stab people.
Man, I don't want to ever die by sword. That's a shitty way to
No, ice pick to the head.
I would love if somebody's gonna
follow my
fucking
path.
murder me and he's like, "How do you want me to do it?" I would be like,
Heroes never die.
"Badass."
No, it's
Send me
not.
on the right.
That's not badass. That's you just got killed by a sword.
How many
Group
people?
up here.
2018. You just got
Only
by a
cool
sword.
people.
Group
Only
up
cool
with me.
people get killed by swords in 2018.
No, that's not.
If it was 1535, I would be like shooting with a gun. They'd be like, I'd be like, that's impossible. Getting killed with a sword is almost like getting killed with a gun in 1535. That's badass. That's like getting killed like a fucking Highlander. I love that.
A sword is so silly.
You have my thanks.
No,
Was it a katana?
A gun is, yeah. Was it a katana?
My teleporter is
I
on.
want to
katana.
stop. No, now I
Yahi
have Mickey Mouse the
Parambastavikahe.
mobster with a katana in my mind.
Does he have a katana?
Yes, of course he has a katana.
Of course he has a katana.
I am at the objective. We must take it quickly.
Justice reigns from above.
Armpit in my
I've got you in my sights.
So the way, if we were to label
I've got
Tommy
you
as
in
a
my
type,
sights. I could do
this is a
this.
whole other topic, but he would be labeled, in my opinion,
Trap.
as a
You're
product
on
killer.
mine.
He didn't. What a product killer is they don't particularly like the act of killing. They want the body afterward to do with what they want. And that seemed to be what his go-to was. So Tommy would always kill, almost always with a gun, but however he ended up killing, it was always instant. It was he never tortured, nor did he care too much, unless it was like something very, very personal to him, which it doesn't seem like he did ever, or at least rarely. But he would kill them, but then what he would do after that is where the kind of creepiness comes in. He would take the body, bring it to a tub. He would always make sure there was a tub nearby where he killed the person.
This is Breaking Bad.
And he would run a bathtub, like a bathtub. Run the water until it was a very
Heroes never
specific
die.
tub. Put the body in there. Take his dissection or his autonomy. What do you call it? Autopsy tools, and he would dismember the body slowly and cleanly. And as the autopsy professionals would put it when they found the bodies, professionally, almost
The
as though a
payload
doctor did
moves
it,
to its
into
destination.
6 pieces.
All according
the
to
2
plan.
legs, the 2 arms, the torso, and the head. And what he did afterward is he always would take a trophy of the person that killed, whether it be a piece of them or something that they owned. Which
Like
in
an ear?
well, the most
Yahi
gruesome thing is he took the head
Parambastavikahe.
and nobody knows what he did with it when he took it home. And when you take something home like that in serial killer language, it's called a totem. It's a way to represent that you are better than these people. That you can take what you want, life
it's
or
your scoreboard,
physical, and it's your scoreboard. And he kept them all, and kept them very, very, very safe, in a very specific safe that hidden. That was kind of his fault.
I am restored.
So that's kind of the person he was. It wasn't necessarily about the tools and the way he killed. It was what he did with them afterward. But, like I said, kind of rolling back to his very first kill, he murdered somebody. We don't know who it was.
Heroes never die.
Never found the body, as the Mafia took care of it. Tommy wasn't taking care of the bodies at that particular point. And it's likely that they burned it in like an oil drum or something. But he didn't. And soon after that, Patera would become a made man. There was a full fucking ceremony that, when described, is really kind of cool. It's like this idea of like all the big bosses come around in this dark room with lit candles and shit, and you go through it, do all this like very ritualistic shit to become a made man. And then shortly after, that's when people would start to become, and murders would begin. Eventually, many years later, cut out the cheap suitcases. That's all going to be happening for episode 2.
I'm ready for this. I'm ready to get nuts. Can I be real with you?
Yep.
I was expecting
Death is an
this
illusion.
to be a story, because I know nothing about Tommy. And
yeah, neither did I.
Like, older pictures of Tommy, he looks like he put on a little weight. But I don't see it, Tommy. I think you look great. Please don't kill me. However, I expected it to be like
online.
Just,
we move swiftly.
An Italian boy who
The enemy
was really good
is
at killing,
here.
and they were like, "Oh yeah, you
Let
killed
the dragon
someone."
consume you.
And they named him
60
Tommy Crosby.
seconds
Nowhere in
remaining.
this story did I
Come
think
summon
it was going to end
yourself
up with him in Japan
For several
learning-
years.
For 2 years and 3 months or something.
learning the masters, becoming a legitimate karate master.
Yahi param
Oh, now you
vastavika
see
hai.
why that the whole beating somebody up in prison without leaving a mark
Yes,
is that far-fetched?
what I think is insane is that basically Alex is right about the whole Street Fighter thing. He basically is
30
the
seconds
villain in every karate
remaining.
movie. Like, he trained somewhere. There's another guy
The
who trained
payload
for 27
moves.
months who is the good guy in the story.
Who's gonna come?
Yeah, who was he was like,
Sniper.
and his mouth moves, and like, words don't come out. Yeah.
If you want the hero of the story and you want to look him up, his name is Jim Hunt, who, I shit you not,
Michael Hunt is his name.
yeah, Jim Hunt is
There is still
one of
much
the first
to be
members of the
done.
DEA. He
Ever?
Overtime.
yes, ever.
All right.
But the DEA was named like 2 or 3 different things before it was officially called the DEA.
The Men in
James
Black.
Hunt, DA, New York Field Division. James Hunt literally looks like my dad with hair.
Well, here's the thing. Are you looking at Jim Hunt, or are you looking at his father, who was also an FBI mastermind, James Hunt?
Well, there's James Hunt. I'm looking at James Hunt, and it's a colored
might
picture,
be-
so I
of
imagine.
the-
Okay, so yeah, that's got to be the
Imagine it's
the
him.
one. But the story of him is that Jim Hunt's father was also in the FBI, and he was a star in the FBI. Put away a ton of criminals. And Jim Hunt was his protege, and he put behind the bars, I shit you not, the sons of the people his father had put away when he was in the FBI.
What in the hell?
This story is insane.
There's a lot of Jim Hunts.
Oh, well, yeah, that's not
Yeah, look
surprising.
up
That's a
Jim
common
Hunt,
name.
DEA, and you can see his picture.
Yep. He worked fucking tirelessly when the Tommy Patera case came across his desk, and if it wasn't for him and his partner and the people that we may be talking about next week a little bit, Tommy Patera may not have ever been caught, because Tommy Patera was incredibly good at knowing or at hiding his tracks and never being
Welcome
seen.
to
Whenever he was in
Blizzard
his own
World.
car, he always blasted the radio or put on white noise so that if he was bugged, no one could hear anything he was saying, which was true. He was being bugged all the time. He never sat in the front seat. He always sat in the back seat so nobody could
Prepare
get
your
behind him.
defenses.
If he was at a restaurant or a club, he was
Select
always up
your
against a
hero.
wall so nobody could get behind him. It was the dude was like paranoid as all hell, which is why he was able to do what he did for as long as he did it. He's a fascinating person. Horrible, horrible monster. Deserves life behind bars 10 times over. But man, I'm surprised there's no movie about Jim Hunt versus Tommy Patera.
I
because-
wonder how he
fuck,
squared
man.
honor, right? Because if you went through all those years of learning about karate and learning about martial arts and learning about, I guess, like just the idea. I
The
feel
true
like
enemy
someone
of
would have taught him
humanity
the idea
is
of
disorder.
honor. And I wonder how he squares that with killing people.
The way it's talked about is the one thing, women. Never, he killed, that's a lie, he killed
Order will
one
be
woman
restored.
ever. And he gave her like a ton of warnings ahead of time, like stop doing what you're doing,
Teleporter
stop doing what you're
online.
doing. She never listened,
I
she
have
always did it, so he
opened the
killed her
bar.
out of his sense of duty and honor. But he never disrespected family and women, and those that were above him in the mafia, he respected and obeyed to the letter. I think he just took what he perceived as honor from his training and melded it with the mafia sense of honor, and kind of had his own code of ethics.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I feel. That's what he seems like.
But we'll talk more about that afterward. Now for us, we won't be talking about him until we get back from Indie PopCon, so that'll be fun, a fun thing to come to. But if you guys want a little preview, if you're going to be at Indie PopCon, I'm going to tell you two what the topic is finally.
Defend objective A.
It's the Demon House of Indiana.
What the fuck? Yeah.
My teleporter is online.
I don't know. But Mr. Zach Baggins, I think is his name himself. Did a
Zach
whole movie
Bagans?
about it. Yeah, the guy who does that. Yes, the Ghost Adventures guy.
Yes.
He bought the house. He did a movie on it, and then he tore it down.
Because it was too scary.
I guess. Or there's no evidence that anything was happening. But the Demon House is what we're going to be talking about in Indie PopCon, or have already talked about by the time this episode is going live. But that's episode 1 of Tommy Karate Patera.
Death is an illusion.
Episode 2 will be around in a couple of weeks.
Teleporter online.
I hope you boys enjoyed. That was really fun.
That was fun.
I am blown away that man did those things.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about it.
Like I said, when I looked, I'm like, is there a movie about this guy? No. There's just this book from him that you can find online. And
What a
No
propose
place.
this to a Hollywood executive, they'd be like, that's nonsense. No one would believe it.
No one
But it's true.
yeah.
And there's all kinds of pictures of Tommy.
The enemies of Talon
With
will be
sunglasses on and shit. He looks like such a boy. So great.
Tommy, I don't think you look at the door. Please.
I haven't looked at a picture of him. I gotta do it. Here I go.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Look, while I want your reaction when you see Tommy Karate.
The very first
Patera.
photo I saw was him he had like a gut and he was doing the splits. There's a photo that I saw.
Yeah, wow, he looks scary.
My will.
He looks like he just looks like a mobster.
Right. Like, yeah, that's what I said. He looked. I thought it was just a joke, them calling him Tommy Karate. But really, it's not a joke, I guess.
No?
Straight up, like, he's a master.
Yeah, there's another
This
another
will heal
mafia
you.
hitman who did get the movie treatment and everything. There's a great movie with Chris Evans and Michael Shannon out there. It's called, I believe it's called The Iceman or something like that.
I am ready.
That actually sounds familiar.
Yeah, he they're like really interesting, but it's called The Iceman.
I will follow
Yeah,
my
it's called The
path.
Iceman, and it's about this
Yahi param vastavika hai.
and then Chris Evans is his like partner who like helped him store the bodies in that ice cream truck as they like went around doing their killings.
But by the way, for the record, so in Karate Kid, the crazy guy, you know how there was the guy who flipped the leg, but there was the other guy in the background who was like, that guy?
Yeah.
His name was Tommy.
I thought you were gonna be like, that was Governor Chris Christie.
No.
I got you.
Oh my God. Well, like any
My
good villain,
work is not
his
complete.
downfall has to do with a great FBI agent, Jim Hunt, and the betrayal of one of what he considered a close friend.
Wow.
We'll talk about that next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. God damn it, not watching.
Our
Looking at the
enemies
video. I'm doing a
return.
podcast.
I mean, some people are watching.
Yeah, some people are watching, kind of. Anyway, thank you guys so much. We appreciate your love and support. We are very nearly crossing over 300 5-star reviews on iTunes. So if you listen on iTunes and you love the show, feel free to give us a little bump there because iTunes loves their 5-star reviews for how they end up rating podcasts. Again, if you're at Indie PopCon this weekend while we're there, say hi to us when you see us. It'll be great. to just say hi, and I'm excited to do the show.
You have my thanks.
Alex and Jesse, thanks for joining us, and for joining me on this wonderful adventure down
I've
there.
got you in my sights.
Hell yeah, I had a great time.
And if you guys want to chat at us, subreddit, as always, Chilluminati Pod, Chilluminati Pod on Twitter, Mathis Games for myself, Jesse Cox for Jesse, and Fastiane A for Mr. Alex. Talk to us, tell us how much you love our stuff, and we'll see you next time. Congratulate us, obviously, and bye, everybody.
Don't listen to these idiots.
Bye, everybody.
Feel better soon.
A momentary lapse.
Unser Modell Padova vorstellen? Das ist tatsächlich ein Modell der absoluten Superlative, weil es vereint jegliche Funktion und
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Der Kampf ist thank you.
Our enemies return.
Touch from afar.
It's time.
You're welcome.
It's time.
I will follow my path.
Try me.
Him. No.
Good position.
No one can hide from my sight.
I cast this forth. I cast this forth.
A momentary lapse.
See that which is unseen.
I've got you in my...
Well struck.
Hello. Bravo.
The power of destruction. Enemy coming right for us.
Spasiba.
You're covered.
Touch from afar.
Allah till mig!
Yahi param vastavika hai. Yahi param vastavika hai.
Double kill.
A momentary
No one
lapse.
can.
The payload is approaching its destination.
They have returned.
Defeat. traveling to Volskaya Industries.
This is an epic story about bass, sonic booms, and a pair of legendary headphones. And it goes like this.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Disorder. Do not deviate from the plan, and victory will be ours.
Oh, yeah?
I'll be busy soon enough.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commencing.
Well, back into the world of Tommy Karate Patera. Hello, everybody, and welcome to
Teleporter online.
Episode
We
8,
move swiftly.
Tommy Patera, Part 2, Dash, Karate Murderer. It's been a little while since we...
Karate Part 2, the 8 schools of Kung Fu.
I don't even know. It doesn't talk about the type of karate practice. I think it's just karate, but in the book. I mean, I'm curious if there was a particular school of martial arts our dear Tommy Patera.
I think karate is a thing.
Is
like,
it? Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, I think it's a thing.
Enemies surviving.
There is still
I don't know
much to be done.
shit about the martial arts. I am. If you look at me, right now I'm wearing an esports Pokemon jersey. That is opposite of martial arts.
That's true. I took martial arts up until the age of 13. So
Oh
it's
my
been
God.
over
Teleporter
20 years.
online. We move swiftly.
Since
There are many types of karate.
I took Taekwondo specifically.
Yeah, there are 4 early styles and several late styles.
Is that? How do you know this? Are you a secret master, Jesse?
I'm a master of Google.com.
Oh, okay.
Is your
Gotcha.
dad
That's my karate.
All right.
I don't know karate, but I do know koreze.
Correct my mistakes.
Oogale.
All right. Well, let's dive back into the world
not the end.
of 1970s, 1980s, New York, Gravesend specifically, with our good boy Tommy Karate Patera. You missed part 1.
I'm still mad about it for you.
The Gravesend.
Even
My
worse.
teleporter is
Even
online.
worse.
That's where you came from, man. That's where you came from. Gravesend. It's poetic.
Cease your resistance.
See yourself that happens. A synchronicity of the world. But if you missed the first episode, go listen to the first one. We
Team up for special attack.
childhood all the way up until the point where he
There is still much
went to
to be
Japan
done.
to study under a martial arts master for a little over 2 years, returned and worked his way into the mafia very soon after, and became a made man, which is a proper member of the crime families of the mafia. Specifically for our people in Tommy, it was the Bonanno crime family. And that's where we left off. This episode, we're going to be talking about his subsequent work within Mafia, his rise to power in the Mafia ranks, and a couple of interesting characters that are going to be necessary to talk about in the third and final part when we talk about his subsequent downfall, capture, and as most people go down, it's usually not the work of Tommy effing up. It's more the work of those he kept close by and
My work is not
doing,
complete.
Maybe confiding a little bit too much information in people he thought were trustworthy.
Greetings.
That's we'll introduce those characters.
We met them a little bit.
Form up.
We're gonna get a couple more this
Oh,
episode.
wow, okay.
Yeah. Two of the most important figures, I would say, are gonna be introduced in this episode. I hope the two of you are really ready for this.
I'm looking at this outline. I'm not ready. At a like, first of all, we need to say that this is
Heroes
now
never die.
part 2 of 3, right?
Yes.
Yahi parambasta victa he.
Just looking at part 2, this man got busy.
I left out quite a lot because it's just not
according to
something I
plan.
can't just give every beat of his life. I picked the important parts you guys want to check out with Tommy Karate and stuff. Again, The Butcher by Philip Carlo. Great book, just goes over his life in great detail. It's fantastic. So,
where'd you get it?
I got this at Barnes and Noble, I think.
Double kill.
Yeah, I was at a bookstore and I saw it. And I was
There
like,
is
this
still
looks
much
nice.
to
I
be
did a
done.
little research. I was like, I'm buying this
Teleporter
book.
online.
I'm going to read it.
I have
And I think we're
opened
going
the
to do a
path.
Illuminati podcast episode on it.
Have you guys ever been to an Amazon bookstore?
No, there is one in Boston, but I
There's brick and
Why
mortar.
would you go? Why would that?
Well, I was just at the movies and I was waiting for it to start and I was like, is that an Amazon? bookstore. And you know what they sell in there? I kid you not. A bunch of like very like sterile-looking book stacks, and then like mostly Kindles. Of course. Very weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress.
So, New York, 1980s.
I will follow my path.
Tommy has worked himself into the mafia.
Teleporter online.
Jobs
we
for the
move
mafia.
swiftly.
I'm imagining he was played by Oscar Isaacs now.
Yeah, I can, with, seeing Tommy Karate, I can see Oscar Isaacs, gaining a little bit of weight for the role and maybe boosting himself up a little more than he is. And
hiring his register a little bit in his voice.
Hey, I was going to say.
Star Wars.
I'm taking care of
I'm a Star Wars guy.
He'd make a good, Charlie Patera.
See
but
through the dragons.
Tommy to himself, back in the mafia, finally in the mafia, finally a made man. And starting right out the gate when he joined the mafia, working as an assassin. That was his calling almost immediately. And it wouldn't actually be long with Tommy in the mafia before he himself became known as a really top assassin among the crime families where he lived. Keep in mind, in the area he lived, there were 5 different crime families. He just worked specifically with the Bonanno crime family. The legends
run into each other?
They worked together quite a lot.
Is that Tommy Karate, the guy from the Bonannos?
There's actually...
Joey Ninjutsu.
Yahi Parambasta Victor.
At least back then.
Heroes never die.
A family wanted somebody hit and killed, but they wanted somebody from another family to do it. They would go to the boss of the other family and ask permission to use the assassin before they would be able to say Tommy to go with.
So it's exactly like the hierarchy of the empire.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, but they worked together, like I said in the first episode. They had a council of where the 5 heads of families would come together every so often to go over deals and like lines and territory and jobs and et cetera, So, yeah, no, they worked together quite often. So the legends and rumors of Tommy actually were, as soon as he started working, were nearly instantaneous. Across the Bonanno crime family, badly enough to warrant your execution, and Tommy was the guy that they would call to take care of you. But it wasn't that he was so willing to kill that set Tommy apart. Most in the mafia were more than okay with killing. It's part of the business. It's how the mafia works. Across any of their major rules, and almost always the punishment is death. What kind of set Tommy apart was how quickly, precisely, and extremely
in range of the objective.
people didn't die when Tommy went after them. They just disappeared. And Tommy was creative with his work.
Big boss rating.
Yeah, he's just S-ranking this entire thing.
That's exactly it.
This is crazy.
No alerts.
As an example as to how much he loved his job and how much he really paid attention to it, Tommy clearly had a good time with his job, and he would go to extreme lengths to ensure that those he was sent to silence permanently never saw him coming. One of his favorite tactics was the simple act of costumes.
Get the fuck out of here. He's like a fucking process server that like kills you.
He had 2 costumes of note that people referred to him as.
Come on!
The first being that of an Orthodox rabbi.
Thank you.
This is
Hello, my son.
Hitman 47. Now, this is not real
Yahi
life. This is not real life.
Heroes never die.
Hide amongst the crowded streets, following basically being able to kill however long it took him, and they would never be
Yahi Parambasta Victor.
Surrender to my will.
Heroes never die.
He would never take me out.
Death
Not
is
this
an
rabbi.
illusion.
But if a rabbi disguise wasn't really what was required for this particular person, perhaps he was a man that enjoyed partying at night and, he only came out to drink and do drugs at night, his other costume was one that went along with his high-pitched voice rather well. That of a woman.
Greetings.
What the fuck? I saw a picture of him. There's no way.
There's nothing about him that...
He looks like a He looks like a human murderer. He just looks like a man who takes people out. It's huge, man.
His grizzled, beard. He doesn't have a beard, but he has that,
he looks like the Goon.
5 hours ago permanently face.
Yeah, he looks like the Goon.
But hey, man, maybe you mix his high-pitched voice with dim lights, a lot of drinks, and some drugs, and they're not seeing clearly what they have before you. And he would basically coerce them into a night of boning, more or less.
Listen, if it was Oscar Isaac, I would do it even though
And excuse me, are you Oscar?
Come to my room. Sure, whatever. Whatever you want, come on.
I was supposed to be a rabbi.
Don't worry about
We must take it quickly.
They walk into the room and the
Yahi
rabbi
param vastavik
on
tahe.
a chair.
What did you do to the
30 seconds remaining. Not so Engaging
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, did Tommy bring back a girl?
I don't know which. Maybe he was killing a girl.
Maybe.
We found out. Even if he did, we found out if he did, he just did it
There
as
is still much
respectfully as
to be
possible.
done.
Of course.
Right, he wasn't a creep about it.
No.
Right.
seconds
He was
remaining.
chilling
Pick up
out.
the
Move
pace.
swiftly.
We can do this. My ultimate is
So
almost
basically what he
ready.
would do is get them away as far away as he could where he had things prepped.
Go,
and then put a
the
bullet in their head,
overtime.
chop them up, and bury them far away.
Helden sterben nicht.
But those were, he had other costumes as well, but those are the
Heroes
two
never
that
die.
were recorded
Don't move.
when confessions were coming out and the like. So those were his two go-to, I guess, in his career.
God
and they seemed
damn.
to work. Because those who
Play
saw
of the
Murderous
game.
Rabbi never had a chance to.
That's so cold to do the rabbi.
This is my
Very, very
way.
much him not caring.
Dressing like a
Double
therapist and
kill.
like killing somebody.
Right. Yeah. No. It's you know, when you walk around as a rabbi, there's a inherent, or any maybe religious leader, there's a lot of trust that gets instantaneously put upon you.
I should try it.
Yeah, you should.
Just to see, not to kill anyone.
Well, I would. Yeah, I would hope not.
No.
But yeah, it is kind of monstrous, right? You dress up as a religious leader, and you can kind of just disappear in you know, with the crowd. People don't pay you any mind. They immediately will trust you for being who you are. And, you know, especially in the mafia, I'm assuming, you know, they're always worried about being followed, but you see a religious leader, you know, oh, I'm safe. He's not
that's
following
just
me.
a rabbi.
Right, just a rabbi for the local temple.
You know, costumes are so funny in movies. In real life, they get so fucked up so fast, like just thinking about it.
Yeah. But that was his thing, and just the fact that he took time to take these costumes, it's clear that there was just an element, a flair to his job, the way he took his job, how much he enjoyed doing what he did. His reputation had built so quickly that when walking into a room filled with other crime members, people would point and talk in hushed tones about him and what he was capable of, and others stood straight and treated him with nothing but respect. In a way, Tommy had achieved exactly what he wanted.
Select your hero.
Power and respect. But there were still those who sat above him, assassins of the mafia that would get the better jobs because they were around longer, had more trust still from the higher-ups. But Tommy was happy and, more importantly, had become quite wealthy. While the crime families in the area had an agreement that they would not deal drugs, on the books at least,
they all dealt drugs.
Every single family had their hands in some, quote, off-the-records, unquote, drug sales. While against the rules to sell drugs under the, say, Bonanno crime family name, if you sold them on your own as a personal kind of side business not affiliated with the crime families, you would be overlooked.
Who's the judge of that? First of all, just real quick, who is the judge of that? I'm sorry.
The heads of the crime families, the five heads of the crime.
I feel like it's one of those things where, you know, like in Goodfellas, whatever, no one really cares if you get your ass caught with stuff, and then they're like, we can't have you doing that. And they take you out.
That
so
is
just
exactly
do whatever the
how
fuck
it goes.
you want, but just be a gentleman.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
It's the rules of all the mob stuff, which is like, we're on your side and we're good friends until you get caught or you goof in some way, and then we gotta get rid of you.
If
like,
I was in the mob, I would never fuck around with like some side.
Walk it off.
I don't understand why these people are tempting fate, especially when there's a man who will kill you dressed as a rabbi, and that's just a fact.
Well, I mean, crime, man. It doesn't.
I was gonna say, and here's the thing: Tommy did exactly that. He sold a ton of drugs with the money he made from being an assassin, as well as how much money he made selling mostly cocaine.
He opened a dry cleaner.
Well, with the money he made, he actually did. So he sold mostly cocaine, marijuana, and heroin.
He did not open a dry cleaner.
He opened an animation studio and a theme park based on the mouse that he created.
While he didn't necessarily open a dry cleaner, he did open 2 bars.
Nice, classic.
Where everybody quietly makes you disappear.
We know the names of these bars?
Yes, we do. The first bar was...
Visit these bars?
I don't think they exist anymore, but the first bar was Cypress Bar and Grill in Cypress Gardens.
Hello.
And the second one was the Just Us Bar on Avenue S.
We must see the payload to its destination.
I like to think that was a lawyer.
Bar.
I like to think that's a lawyer hangout.
Right? Yeah.
Who's here? Just us.
And they
Justice.
Justice Bar. Yeah, no,
Pun.
I wonder.
You guys.
Clearing the area.
I get
I'm there. I said lawyers. I'm here. I'm with you.
Yeah, the joke is there. He fed off the joke.
Guys.
I yes-anded that bit. I've taken the classes.
I have taken the payload.
Yes, I got to write down that.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Though bar is a name, and they did actually make him a good amount of money just from people coming in and out.
Buying drinks.
They were much more than that. Obviously. A place where Tommy and associates could meet up, talk deals, business agreements for drugs, and so on. Now, it's important to know there were no actual drugs sold in these bars.
I mean,
clearly. You don't shit where you eat. Come on.
Exactly, and exactly, and he kept it that way. The bar was treated as a bar, and it was just this is where his deals went down, and they would arrange other places to do meetups and drug exchanges for money. The bars, for the most part, outside of the deals, were kept. During this time, where he was buying bars and being successful, Tommy actually got married. He got married to a woman named Carol, and they had a child that they named Charles. However, it wouldn't be long before Carol and Tommy ended up separating.
Charlie Karate.
Chucky Karate. Chuck Norris is his name.
Oh my God! Oh, Chuck Norris is Tommy Pateri's kid.
I don't think so. I feel like that's not true.
He changed his last name.
Wilford Brimley was like, "Come on, Walker."
Come on. Texas. Yeah, so he had a kid. He got married to Carol, had a kid, but the marriage didn't last long. They ended up separating, but even separated, Tommy did absolutely everything he possibly could to make sure his ex and their child lived a good life.
So Japanese.
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
While he wasn't present in their lives very often after that, he paid all of their rent, bought them food, clothing, and generally made sure they lived very comfortable lives. Just kind of watched over them from a distance, but kept his distance.
That's such a movie criminal thing to do.
Now it makes sense though. As I was reading through this and reading the life of how the mafia people lived during this time, I'm like, oh, movies kind of were pulling from facts, I guess.
Yeah,
I did their research.
I guess that's true. Like the Godfather is real, I guess.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Strong.
But Tommy had also in that time moved on as well. He was now dating someone else. Someone that would become instrumental for Tommy's adventure. And her name,
the payload moves to its destination.
I get what you said. Yeah, exactly. Celeste Lepari.
Oh, get out of here.
Celeste Lepari. Be me about it.
Celeste
What are you implying?
Nothing. The name alone tells me this is bad news for Tom.
GTA, NPC.
I will correct my
Yeah,
mistakes.
this is the if you were cousin Nico,
The
and you
payload
found
has stopped.
Celeste
We must get it
Lepari,
moving.
she definitely won. Lots of coke. 2
is gonna kill you. Yeah.
Swears like a sailor. 3 rats you out to the FBI. There's only 3 things a Celeste Lepari does.
I'm gonna imagine.
I know.
I'm gonna imagine like.
Get in there.
That's like where I'm going.
Oh my God, that's
Sniper.
exactly what I think too. Yeah.
Celeste was apparently a very gorgeous girl. She had full lips, small waist. This is all detailed, by the way, in the book. This is not something
small waist and a big behind. I need a diet.
The payload has stopped. We must get our plan back on track.
She had a small waist, large breasts, and a perfect hourglass figure. She was very much your 80s girl, living in the high crime.
So she had like crazy 80s hair.
Yep, she absolutely did. And since this was the early 80s, at this point, the 80s hair to go along all with that 80s
Enemy contact.
fashion.
So she is literally.
Yahi parambasta
Jessica Chastain from that movie with Oscar Isaac.
Justice reigns from above.
I'm most violent.
Oscar Isaac so bad.
I just want to have sex with Oscar Isaac.
That's what we're getting out of this. That's what this episode is. I'm gonna title this episode.
I heard he
Alex
loves
Bone.
conspiracy shows. Yeah, I wanted to wait 8 episodes before I opened the Pandora's box. Come get me, baby.
Are we talking? Are you like a top, a bottom, a switch?
I'm not choosy. You know what?
Right.
Yeah, Switch. It's 2018. I'm a gamer.
All right.
I'm the Switch.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
For Oscar Isaacs, I'm with you.
Yeah. What the hell is happening right now?
I will follow my path.
Healing enough.
All right, Celeste. While she was utterly gorgeous, and I've seen pictures, and she
Enemy
was a very
contact.
beautiful woman. There was a little bit of a counterpart to that.
Get
when
the
she
fuck
spoke
out of here. Oh my
When she
God.
spoke with an incredibly rough, very heavy Brooklyn accent.
correct
and she
my
spoke,
mistakes.
according to the book,
She's Peggy Bundy.
she spoke out the side of her mouth with a voice that sounded rough as though it was that of a truck driver.
She's Dr. Girlfriend from the Venture Brothers.
Sniper detected.
Oh my God.
I will
Hello,
make real.
baby. Hello, honey. Oh, sweetheart. Yes. Let's go murder these people together. Oh my God. Sexy little Mickey Mouse.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Keep
the
mine.
big storm.
I love those high-waisted pants. Look at those 2 giant buttons. Oh, thank you. Yes, oh, thank you.
I bet you could beat
love
some of
those
these
Keep the
dead
payload
giant
moving.
hands.
Oh, yeah. I certainly do.
This will heal you.
I'll pick you to death later with my wiener. My wiener.
All right, good. I'm glad we're getting that out of the way now.
And scene.
At the end of every good improv scene, that's how they end it. They all stand together at the front of the stage and they say, and scene.
I even wrote in the notes, man, perhaps the polar opposite of Tommy's
Sniper.
high-pitched voice, poetic.
That's fucking beautiful.
And the thing with Tommy, though,
is
he
approaching its
utterly
destination.
worshipped Celeste. She was, in almost every single way, his ideal perfect, his goddess. He adored her. Except one thing. The one thing Tommy...
I told you. I know.
follow
I
my
told you
path.
what I tell you.
The one thing Tommy hated the most about anyone that he dealt with. Celeste was an incredibly heavy drug user.
Saw that coming a mile away.
Damn.
As we actually talked about in the last episode, while he dealt drugs, Tommy nearly completely abstained from them. He saw it as a way to lose everything. Mafia members around him lost
Surrender to
and
my
ended up
will.
dead because of drugs all too often. So he
Oh
himself
man.
refused
The payload has stopped. We must
Oh, I
get it
know
moving.
exactly where she's going. She wasn't into him. She was into the
Yeah,
drugs.
he
Tommy
got-
was selling. Tommy had a good woman and his first wife. He and Carol, they had a beautiful child, and he left her for this harlot who just wanted his drugs, and then she rats him out.
I didn't think that the thing that was going to get Jesse
Justice
fired
reigns from
was
above.
like soap opera level drama. But then again, what the fuck was
Barrage
that?
incoming.
I mean, true.
No, of course
Death
this is
is
his
an
downfall.
illusion.
You know his downfall is going to be like, and then he was caught murdering people. No, it's like the one he
get that
put his
payload
love
moving.
into. Betrayed him. Oh, man.
You're on the
I knew
right
it.
track. You're on the right track.
I know
won't-
what's going to happen. I see it clear as
I
day.
still think, tell you, Jesse, I'll say this, there are still some twists and turns in the story. However,
I'm ready. This is a great story so far.
Tommy himself refused to lose everything he had worked so hard for to something he considered so trivial. Drugs specifically. You control the drugs. The drugs do not control you was his motto. Again, something we talked about last episode. But Celeste was a big drug user, a nightly one, and her drugs of choice were cocaine
Cocaine, yep.
and bring the night down with
Jesus
Back in
Christ,
my
she's
day,
just
we
like
have this pale.
ups and downs.
Yes, she would basically, her nightly routine was to get really high on cocaine, and when she was done partying,
My
hit
work
heroin
is not
to
complete.
bring herself down. And because of this, they fought constantly. He would threaten to leave her. She swore up and down that she would quit, but neither one of those things happened.
She's not in
10
Oh,
seconds
see, don't you
Time
get
is
it?
running out.
Tommy was
Attack.
like, she's my perfect woman.
Warihong
And put her up on a pedestal. I don't want to. Don't leave me. I love you. She wanted that sweet nose candy, and Tommy didn't know. He was too busy murdering and trying to get laid.
This is
And he
Mickey
got-
Rourke.
he got
Mickey Rourke in Sin City right here.
Pretty
Play
much.
of the
Amped
game.
himself up. Oh, Tommy, you big dummy.
He's a big dummy. Moreover, at least immediately, it affected him and his position within the Banana crime family. Celeste was infamous as a party girl amongst the mafia.
It's
Nightly snorted coke. She wanted heroin to come down after. And while Tommy was highly respected, Celeste brought that respect down considerably. But he loved her, and Celeste wouldn't stop abusing that privilege. So Tommy, in his own mind, tracked down what he blamed to be the source of her problem.
Oh no,
if he couldn't bring himself to blame Celeste for her own problems, Tommy was going to find someone he could blame and try and stop it there. So, Tommy found Phyllis Birdie. Phyllis was Celeste's party partner almost every single night. And if you found Celeste doing drugs and partying, you were likely to also find Phyllis there doing the same thing. But if you considered Celeste a heavy user, then Phyllis was a crazed addict. And it's Phyllis, Tommy decided, was Celeste's problem. So he approached her and genuinely and politely told Phyllis the following. And we quote, which one of you boys would like to take this under Mickey Mouse's wing and
Jesse was just telling me before this how much he wanted to do this.
Yeah, all right. Oh boy.
Go for it.
Fellas, I have a problem and I need your help. Celeste is out of control. I don't want her using drugs, but listen to me, bitch. I'm not blaming you for anything. I'm not saying you did anything. What I'm saying is that she can't control herself, and I'd really appreciate it if you made sure not to give her any drugs, ever. She has a couple of toots, she starts drinking, next she's using heroin. I'd really appreciate this.
Where do we get this tweet? Where do we get this, like, exact note from? Like, where did it come from?
Confessions during the trial.
Oh my God.
It's pretty much where all these quotes come from. Yeah. I'm sure, like, you know, word for word, it's probably not remembered perfectly by who put it forth, but you know, that's just what they put forth as his quote. And somehow the Mickey Mouse voice makes it weirdly scarier.
It really, you're subverting the image of a childhood constant.
Now arriving at Yijang Tower.
I definitely don't kill people, but I will cut your damn dick off if you mess with me.
Listen, I'm not myself this year.
Select your
okay, and this is not the problem that I want to deal with.
It's Ryan Johnson's fault. It is.
He ruined my Luke Skywalker.
We took a hard turn into Disney properties.
Didn't mean to get political in the podcast. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Sorry.
Well, after saying that, Phyllis responded by saying she never gave her Celeste any drugs, ever. She just used them with her, and she would be absolutely sure not to
Phyllis
turn
is such
her
a liar.
onto them anymore.
The true enemy
Phyllis.
of humanity. Order will be restored.
I know everyone knows a Phyllis.
Here's the thing. I would do everything that I could fucking do not to get killed by Tommy Karate, though.
Well, that's what, all these people, I feel like...
Hello.
If you're in it and not looking in from the outside, you don't see all the crazy stuff all these people are involved in. Right? Like, this is their world, and this to them is like normalcy.
Hello.
And to us, we're like, this is nuts. No, I would be like, Tommy, do you need a sandwich? Can I make you a sandwich? Can I make it the exact way you want it because I don't want to screw the sandwich up? Like that kind of stuff?
We move swiftly.
Oh, yeah. I'd be like, okay, sure, whatever you say, Tommy.
Yeah, and it's something important to note about both Celeste and Phyllis, something I don't really talk about in here, is they were both born and raised in mafia. Like, their families and cousins were all involved in the mafia in some way. This is like their world. Their dream, as pointed out during my research, is that their dream is to marry a successful made man.
Is now active.
And that's what they want. They want to be married to their rich, like, criminals, because that is the ideal for them. They understand some dangers come along with it, but the ends justify the means. As long as they get to marry somebody rich and powerful in their era. So this is their everyday, man.
So what happened?
Perfect alignment.
So after a handshake, Tommy warned her that it could become very dangerous for her if it continued. And she left.
I would have driven. I would have drove to New Jersey. I guess they were in New Jersey. I would have driven to New York. South and just got the fuck out.
I would have gone to Yonkers.
Yeah.
Hang out.
I will follow my path.
Hung out with Michael Crawford and Barbara Streisand in Yonkers, New York.
I'm with you.
That's right.
And for the next few years, things continue.
Yahi parambasta vikta hai.
Continually warned Celeste. Warned Celeste and Phyllis. Phyllis and Celeste would listen for like a night or two, and then they'd be back partying again. over and over. And Tommy, again, the thing that I even talked about in the first episode,
My teleporter
Tommy,
is
if he had a
online.
weakness, or an ounce of humanity, it
Where
came
does it hurt?
See through the
he
dragon's
respected
eyes.
women. So while if it was a man doing this, likely he would have been killed on night 1 because it was Phyllis
Perfect
and
alliance.
less, and he had a honor code in his own mind. For the next few years, warned him over and over again, and it never stopped.
Our enemies return.
But Tommy also did what he did best for the next few years. He killed when asked, sold drugs, made money, and garnered respect from those who worked alongside.
It's
But most
time.
importantly, Tommy continued to hone
I could use
his
some assistance.
Still practiced martial arts, mind you, but the art of killing another person was not only getting caught, but had kept him out of the prying eyes of the DEA for so long. The DEA, they knew he was killing. That wasn't the issue. The question is, who was he killing?
I am on
and what
fire.
was he doing with the bodies that they couldn't figure out? Tommy was under heavy scrutiny by the early to mid 80s. They had both of his bars staked out and constantly bugged his cars. But Tommy was, if anything, paranoid of being caught. He never
Just a careful boy, huh?
Yeah, he literally never used phones. His bar was a place of discussion and
Yahi parambasta viktahe.
outside, he'd speak in incredibly low tones and keep his hands around his mouth to not be lip read. In his car, if they ever spoke business, he would blast music or white noise and drown out anything that would have been picked up by the bugs in the car.
This
He
is
was
not
and
the
had
end.
become known as a ghost, both to the FBI and the DEA and to the mafia members. As well.
So you're telling me that like Harvey Keitel
Keep it up.
in Pulp Fiction is like
Overtime.
real?
Like, yes.
Just get rid of everything, hide it, and it just works.
I am on
exactly how
fire.
it
Can you imagine being a law officer and knowing someone is a murderer and just being like, oh well, can't get him.
So on the side, kind of the side story that's going obviously is Jim Hunt and his team working on it. They, I'm not going into too much detail about them because that's like a whole nother story. But basically, all the while they're working the fringes. They know there's massive stuff going on, and Tommy is kind of the centerpiece. So they're slowly hitting and finding people on the edges who buy drugs from his dealers and trying to work their way into the gang through there by posing as other dealers and making deals and buying drugs.
Just trying to get him for something.
Yeah, so they're getting they have a lot of fringe people at the moment that they have now been working with for maybe a couple of years, and they're starting to get more and more information on Tommy through these other people. But even that, the information they're getting from them is not really anything too substantial. Tommy, as far as being a murderer, was impeccable. He was so good.
My teleporter is online.
Tommy had a burial ground for his deceased, a personal burial ground. We talked about it a little bit in the first episode, but to get into more detail, the burial ground was a bird sanctuary on Staten Island. So far out of the way and so far outside the city that no one would see them going. It was a government-protected land, and not a single soul would ever wander through there. And it was massive, so finding anything, even if they wanted to, would be a challenge without direction or knowing where the bodies were buried. His method was clean and simple. Usually a bullet to the head to kill the victim. Then he would bring the victim to a bathtub and run the water at a temperature that would mix with the blood to help it drain. From there, he would bring out his autopsy kit filled with saws and knives made to cut through human remains, and he would dismember the body into 6 pieces. 2 legs, 2 arms, torso, and head. The body would then be bled, put into plastic bags, and those plastic bags would then be put into cheap travel bags and driven up to the bird sanctuary, which would then bury those suitcases very deep and then cover them well enough that upon looking around, everything would seem normal. And in 1987, this method would earn him the respect of the head of the Bonanno family. And in Moffeedom, that alone can be priceless.
Double. So if they're watching his ass everywhere that he's going, right? Like he's going through every possible step he can take. And because he knows that they're like following his ass constantly.
Yes. He's actually, it's even noted in the book that sometimes when they were staking him out, he would look in the direction of their stakeout in like almost in a taunting fashion, like
he would just like stare at them.
Yeah.
So how the fuck did he ever get out to this fucking sanctuary? Is my thing. It's like
that's what I'm saying. Like I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, you have to.
So, working in the Mafia, his cars would change.
Helden sterben nicht.
He was never driving the same car for more than a couple of days. And they had a personal place that the FBI and DEA didn't even know about until way late in the investigation, that after a job, the cars would be brought there, the interior stripped, the license plate would change, the whole car detailed, and then given back out to the crime family members. When they drive around, they would drive around and take random stops and random streets, and they would take hours to get where they were going, and to make sure they would not be. So they were never driving the same cars, they were never driving with the same people, they never got picked up outside the bar. Usually they'd walk away from the bar and get picked up separately. So they went out of their way to make sure they were not being followed. And this is also in the 80s too, so tech is not exactly
it's not like cell phone shit.
Right.
I guess maybe a little bit, but not a lot. Yeah,
right, exactly. Yep. So, like I said, he would go out of his way
Teleporter online.
to make this happen.
We move swiftly.
He did a really good job for how paranoid.
Damn right.
He was. I heard you say, Jesse, early when I was talking about it. You were like, is that was the question? That you had?
Yeah. That's there was. It just seemed like a lot of this was.
Rocket barrel.
Double
And
triple kill.
Another thing to keep in mind too, as we talked about in episode 1, a lot of the cops in the area, just the local beat cops, were paid off constantly. The crime family kind of ran the city.
It's more like a very stressed out guy in a van somewhere doing some work.
Yeah, it's the DEA coming and dealing with it, through bypassing through the system and not really working with the cops that much.
Right.
But it was time for good old Tommy to really work his way up. Joe the Gentleman Messino, that was his nickname given to him.
Joe the Gentleman.
Joe the Gentleman. And the reason he was called Joe the Gentleman is he was always incredibly well put together, clean, in perfectly tailored suits. He was when you talked to him, he was incredibly polite and always respectful to no matter who he was talking to. He was just somebody that was very affable.
He's got that Frank Sinatra 40s gangster pronunciation where he takes a minute to explain everything with good enunciation.
Yes, absolutely. You know that's that guy.
Yeah,
pretty much. He was a relatively new head of the Bonanno family, as the main head of the Bonanno family had moved, kind of retired, semi-retired, and moved away to Arizona.
Right. Moved upstate.
Yeah, exactly.
He found a new place to be, in another place, if you know what I mean.
In a farm upstate with the fishies. A fish farm.
Joey, you're mixing your metaphors here, Joey.
Don't talk to me like you know.
Arriving at Watchpoint
My
Gibraltar.
metaphors are great.
Yeah, Joey. Yes, Joey.
Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
Oh my god.
Yes, and Joey.
Joe the Gentleman. Yes, and Joey. Joe the Gentleman had recently actually put out a job. He had recently ordered a hit on a man betraying him with explicit orders to kill him and then bury him deep after the job was done. The job had been given to Gabe Infante, and Gabe had, unfortunately, disobeyed orders. Instead of burying the man deep, he was left in a 50-gallon oil drum in New Jersey.
The true enemy of humanity is disorder.
Quickly came across the body and came snooping around the Messino's home, putting him at great risk, and in turn, the Bonanno family
System optimized.
for being caught.
Why isn't his last name Bonanno?
Good question.
I didn't even think about that. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
That's a good question. Because probably the person who formed the crime family in the beginning, last name was Bonanno, and then as they age and retire, new people get appointed.
I bet there's some
Attackers
Bonannos in there. It's probably
in
like
5
Wayne
seconds.
Enterprises. Bruce Wayne's on the board, but he isn't like the president.
Yeah,
I
this is more of a
foresee
Lucius
great
Fox
things for you.
Yeah.
type gentleman. Got it.
Yeah, pretty much. And the thing is, this was a big problem. Gabe not only disobeyed orders, but he disobeyed them so badly that it put everybody at risk. So,
My
you know
power
what that means?
grows.
Gabe's
Teleporter online.
Days
I have opened
Gabe's
5,
Dave, baby.
4,
Gabe's Dave, baby.
2, 1.
Messino had asked
Attackers
Tommy to take care of
incoming.
this problem.
Sniper, don't get caught.
Stop the payload.
Tommy saw this as an honor, and to him, the reason he had to kill Gabe was entirely irrelevant. So, on February 11, 1987, Tommy would get Gabe into a warehouse filled with weed he was telling him he wanted to broker a deal with. Once Gabe had entered the warehouse, Tommy stepped out and put a few rounds into his head with an automatic. Those around him helped load the body up into Tommy's trunk, where he was then brought to Arthur Kill's landfill on Staten Island and buried deep properly. Tommy had just done a favor for the most powerful man in the world. Things were looking up for him. Through his work, Tommy had come to know a few people, and even took a liking to them. One in particular was Frank Gang. I say Gang.
Gang is like a nickname for your grandma.
Oh, Gangy.
Gang.
Hello, bud.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Oh my god, is that you, Frank Gangy the mobster? They said you had a soft voice.
Yahi parambasta.
I'm unstoppable.
Yahi parambasta.
I love you too. What do you want to keep?
Healing enough.
Death is an illusion.
Hello there.
Frank actually was kind of like a tall, wiry, creepy-looking dude in general at this time.
Enemy turret ahead.
And he had come to know Tommy through drug dealing, of course, coke specifically.
Get healed.
Frank actually approached Tommy initially with because he had heard he was good to deal with, to ask Tommy for money because he owed some people money. But Tommy didn't work out. Tommy basically said, I'm not a lender, I'm not going to give you any money.
Enemy turret ahead.
I need some money, and I use some money as well. Get it on the coke. Start dealing. And he hooked him up with one of his main coke dealers that he would then borrow coke from, sell, and then that money would go to that coke dealer, and then that money would go to Tommy. And that's kind of how he worked off his debt. Frank did really well with them, and he wasn't actually a full-on mafia member either, but he had worked with them.
My ultimate is charging. My ultimate is charging.
He had sent Tommy for money because people knew Frank and Tommy had also taken a liking to him for one reason or another. He always paid on time and brought him quite a good amount of money by being a dealer for him. And those he liked, he wanted to bring closer. Tommy's way of paying it forward.
Affirmative.
Frank had come to know Tommy rather personally as well, and described Tommy as, quote, a living, breathing monster.
Yeah, that's why his version of paying it forward is getting you further ensnared in the world. Terrible crime
destroyed.
Yeah, I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna get you rich, but also make you a horrible criminal. Don't worry.
You'll never be able to run away.
I mean, it's a good
Enemy
thing to think about it. It's kind of a good way to secure yourself.
You know what? I guess that's true.
If you're gonna go down, and they're gonna bring you down, they're gonna have to go down.
Enemy seen.
But as Frank said, Tommy to him was a living, breathing monster. That killing for Tommy wasn't something he did as part of the job, but more that Tommy being paid to kill was a bonus for Tommy. That he would kill whether or not he was in the mood. Frank really truly believed. But Tommy liked
Team up for special attack.
And Frank was making good money through Tommy, and so he continued to befriend him. But Frank would also prove a problem in the future for Tommy. Not
now we're getting somewhere.
What?
Tommy was about to put,
What does that mean? That's so ominous.
well, like I said, we're gonna meet a couple of characters in this episode.
Can I? You know what this means, right? I know. Look, the fact that you said that, I know exactly what it means.
Tell me, hit me with your theories.
You think Frank's with
Frank? No, I think Frank cheats with.
Yahi parambasta victahe.
Look, I told you this is drama. You guys don't see it, but I know this to be true. So Tommy Frank is a drug dealer or is a drug user, right?
Frank is a drug user.
Yes, and he is in with Tommy. Drug plus drugs equals Celeste and Frank behind Tommy's back. I'm letting you know what's going on.
Okay, you're kind of close. I may have
exceptional performance.
You're kind of close, and I'll rectify that because I actually, as I was looking at the notes, I actually speaking of this, I realized I wrote something down. But don't worry, you're really close.
Am I?
You are very close. But first,
10 seconds remaining.
Tommy liked to put the people he liked and trusted. He wanted to make sure he could trust them even further through a test. Always wanted to test their loyalty. Trust it was earned.
Heroes never die.
No, oh no! He's gonna bring Frank in even more. Frank's gonna see some crazy shit. Hook up with Celeste. Celeste is gonna tell the cops. Oh my God. I see it as clear as day. Tommy, you big dummy.
Play of the game.
So, a test was put forth for Frank. You see, a man named Talal Siksik had been fingered as a rat. Tommy, Siksik. I want to say it's Siksik. There was also a lot of dealings with other types of organized crime in this city.
This is a cartoon. This is a cartoon world that we're talking about.
There was Colombians and Israelis specifically that were doing a ton of organized crime in the same area, and they often worked together with the mafia in the town. And this guy, however, had been fingered as a rat, somebody who had been feeding information to the feds. And if Tommy hated anything, it's betrayal and rats. He loathed them. And two of Tommy's associates had Talal captured and handcuffed to a chair with tape over his mouth in apartment 1A at 2807 Kings Highway and East 28th Street.
Jesus.
Yeah. Here, he was going to test Frank's loyalty. He brought Frank to the apartment where both the associates were waiting with the man tied down to the chair. When they walked into the apartment, Talal was beaten, battered, and clearly scared for his life. But without much thought, almost instantly upon walking into the apartment, or discussion at all, Tommy walked over, pulling out his gun, and shot him twice in the head right above his ear.
Damn, he's seen it now. Frank's seen it all. Tommy, you big dummy!
Frank got brought in too far!
Select your hero.
Frank knew it. Frank, or should I say, looking over to Frank, Tommy asked him to help him move the body to the bathtub. Frank was petrified at this point. He had seen people killed, but never like that. Frank was afraid, and he had never seen anyone killed quite as coldly, but he obeyed Tommy. Placing the body face down in the tub, Tommy then would take out a hacksaw meant for autopsies, and he handed it to Frank, and in his Mickey Mouse voice said the following.
The true enemy of humanity is disorder.
Hiya! I want you to get undressed. Get on top of him and cut him into 6
My
pieces.
teleporter is online.
Oh my fucking god. Why did he do this?
Order
This is like
will be
not
restored.
the greatest test.
Frank froze in place and stuttered, telling Tommy after a few moments of silence that he couldn't do it.
Has anyone ever passed that fucking test?
Not really.
Yeah. Attackers incoming.
But
in
Frank,
30
like I said,
seconds.
Frank froze up. He was clearly petrified and denied it. He wouldn't do it. There was a little bit of arguing between the two of them, a little bit of bickering before Tommy relented and
Teleporter
decided
online.
to do it
We move
himself
swiftly.
while Frank watched. So Tommy went to the bathroom, removed all of his clothing and got naked, neatly folded all of his clothing before placing them down.
This is some crazy Hannibal shit. We're like, a dude, he's bare-ass naked in a bathtub with running water, cutting up a body.
Yep.
What a
And he
sight that
one.
must have been.
Attackers
God
incoming.
damn.
Yeah. It's, again, he's a
Stop the
he's a
payload.
monster.
I would die to be able to see that. Just kidding.
Like, he just killed this dude, and now just right into the tub with the body still warm. I can't even imagine seeing it. So he got down, stripped naked, and then stepped into the bathtub and ran the water at a steady flow, not too weak or not too strong, to have the blood wash down, but steadily, the pattern we talked about a while ago. With no hesitation in his movement, Tommy then began to dismember the body with the, quote, expertise of a butcher. Arms, and legs, then head, and then torso. Once dismembered, he would place all the body parts into bags, and the bags into the trunk brought in by his associates. Once done, he would take a long shower, ensuring all the blood was off of him and rinsed out of the tub. He was clean, getting dressed and taking the body and his associates back to the bird sanctuary to bury it. Frank was then told by Tommy to drop them off in a little area
I will
and
follow
come back
my
in
path.
45 minutes to pick them up. He didn't question. He did it, but not before going to a bar.
My
and
teleporter
drinking
is online.
very, very heavily.
I get it.
What
I
he
get it.
Hi.
Yeah, holy shit.
It's, I mean, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine being Frank and seeing all of that stuff. Granted, you're already deal with crime and stuff, but you're not in the mob. You're probably doing side jobs, and you've maybe seen a couple of dudes shot
I will
here and there, but
follow
it's
my
always in the
path.
chaos of something happening, and it's not as personal as what he saw. And then all of a sudden, you literally see
Yahi
a serial
param
killer.
vastavikta hai.
Like, that is exactly what it
And
was.
let's be clear, when you think of the expertise of a butcher, you think about watching a show on Food Network where, like, the guy cuts between the bones, knows exactly how to, like, cut and
No one can
you know, like
hide from my
fillet
sight.
or whatever that is, where you like open up a chicken.
Yeah, the payard. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh,
you
the
can
enemy
kind of see the
stole.
idea that, you know, Tommy was like this. He would arm, he knew exactly where to lop it off real quick. Oh, like I bet that was terrifying to watch.
Like lifting the arm in such a way that looks like if the person was liable to hurt, and just treating it like a slab of meat.
Yeah,
that's exactly how it comes off, and that's horror. I can't imagine. Like, I'd be fucked up beyond reason, and Frank was equally fucked up. So he went off and he drank very heavily. When he came back, as told, 45 minutes later, Tommy actually did ask if he had been drinking because he could smell the alcohol on him, and Frank said yes. But Tommy said nothing after.
I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude. What the hell do you think I just did?
What he'd seen had completely changed Frank, and quite frankly, traumatized him.
In the manner of Frank, it's traumatized.
In a manner of Frank.
Oh, let's break it! Damn!
After picking them up and everyone going home,
Yahi paramvastavik
he would then meet up with a woman named Phyllis. And for the next day and night, on a coke-fueled binge, they would fuck on and off constantly.
I was close enough. Close
you were
enough.
very close.
Close enough.
Finding himself quite fond of the one that Tommy had threatened. He grew very, very close to Phyllis.
This is like the perfect. If I was a cop, like an FBI type, DEA type thing, how often is the plan just like wait till they fuck it up? Just wait till one guy who knows something has sex with a girl who knows something, and then it just happens. Like, are they doing work?
So they are doing. The thing is, like, again, I'm leaving out most of what the FBI are doing because that's just a whole nother story in itself. They are doing. I have to give it to Jim Hunt, man. Like, he is doing everything in his power to get in. The problem is cracking into that circle is fucking
60
impossible.
seconds remaining.
He's desperately, constantly asking to meet up with Tommy. He keeps trying to push off that he has a ton of marijuana that he wants to offload to Tommy. And he wants to sell Tommy all this marijuana, and he wants to make a deal, but he has to make a deal with a person. But everybody he's dealing with is like, no, Tommy doesn't do that. No, that's not how Tommy works. I can't get you a meeting with Tommy. I can get you a meeting with this other higher-up that works with Tommy, but I can't get you a meeting with Tommy himself. And they are just desperately trying to do anything they can. And the fact that Tommy just does everything he can to make sure that they can't get any info on him, with the white noise in the car and not talking about business and making sure he's covering his mouth and talking in whispered tones and never being easy to track and follow around, always has a different car. Like, what can you do? And that's actually kind of something very scary to read about, is like, if somebody is doing everything in their power to cover their tracks, what can you do?
Yeah, I mean,
Yahi
in 2018, there's many things.
No one can hide from
Right, but in 1987,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about police work in those days.
And the thing is, the night he went and killed and watched this guy, it is brought up that he was being watched that night, but they lost him. They were trying to follow him, but they lost him. So Tommy had a bit of luck in that he got away from the cops when he was going to take care of this guy at the warehouse.
It's almost better. It's almost worse that he was able to, though.
That he was able to get away?
Yeah, because if he had been taken in that day, if they had just been like tracking him, or he like found out and he got wigged out, the whole thing with Frank never would have happened.
Yeah. The problem is Tommy still has another 5 or so years, I think. No, another 7.
Yeah.
He's got another 3 to 4 years before he's caught. So he's got another 3 to 4 years before things go down. And if things don't go down the way they're about to go down, that we're going to talk about in the next episode, it's possible Tommy could have gone on for an X more number of years before technology caught up with him. The thing that makes Tommy scary, outside of the fact that he is clearly a monster who enjoys killing too much, is just how he got away with it for so long, and that it wasn't even necessarily him that got him caught, just a few bad, poor judgments on people that he thought he could trust.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's super duper scary. So at this point in the Mafia, where that wraps up, Tommy is as big as he's going to get. He has done an incredible favor for Messino, Joe the gentleman, who is head of the Bonanno family, and he is now the go-to assassin for all 5 crime families. When they want somebody killed and removed, they always ask the Messino and the Bonanno family if Tommy can do it.
That's not right.
He is the guy, the #1 assassin. And now Tommy at this point has 3 different houses and these 2 different homes. He has a house that's like very big and elaborate, a small one that's away, and another one that's more for business than anything else. Like, he is a man with power and wealth and everything he ever was looking for when he started doing this.
I will
He
correct
has
my
stepped onto the
mistakes.
throne that he wanted. The next step for him would be head of a family, but you kind of get the impression that that's not really what he wanted.
He just wants to kill dudes.
He was very, very happy.
He likes what he likes.
Yeah.
The payload has
And
reached
Frank
the
Ganji
checkpoint.
specifically believes that that Tommy killed over 100 people, but the FBI and DEA believes it was more like over 6, which is still ridiculous.
That's not like a small enough number for me to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Even because again, he was sentenced for 18. Now they found.
Yahi param vastavik hai.
They were able to nail him for 18, which is still a ridiculous number. Like, if you look at some serial killers in the past, like they only get to, and I say only very not quite as lightly as I should be, but or saying it lighter than I should rather. But like most serial killers get upwards of like 6 to 10-ish before they're caught. And then this guy nailed for 18, definitely close to somewhere around 60. It's horrifying, but
Death is an illusion.
that's Tommy Patera, man, and that's gonna have to wrap up part 3. I could have done all of it in this part, but we would have been going for another hour or so. I figured.
Can't even begin to figure out where this. Like, I know where it's going, but you told me there's twists, and I hope I'm unprepared.
I thought we were like 5 seconds from the end of the story, but like now that I know that it's like a whole other hour, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what else happens to Tommy K? My man Tommy K.
I'm curious. So your theory right now is that Frank squeals to Phyllis and Phyllis squeals to the police?
Yeah, or like the police gets involved and they have some dumbass idea to get out of there.
No. This is one of those like this is like what happened to Clinton.
My ultimate is
Where the
charging.
friend got
I
Monica
require
Lewinsky.
healing.
Sighted the enemy. My will
Give her the
made
dress and
real.
stuff, that kind of thing. This is gonna be one of those. Frank and Phyllis are gonna convince Celeste to turn on Tommy.
Oh boy, I don't know what
That's what I think.
I think it's gonna be simpler.
I think Tommy's gonna kill Frank.
I think Frank's just gonna be like, I saw him kill somebody, I was there, and then Phyllis is gonna be like, he tried to kill me.
60 seconds
Where's this
remaining.
wire?
That's
My
what I think.
damage spell is upon you.
Well, we'll find out next week.
God
The final
damn.
part of Tommy Patera, Tommy Karate, part 3. The end, the fall of maybe the greatest assassin in that area for the 80s and or late 70s. Tommy would get many more kills, and Tommy eventually shows signs of the serial killer and starts getting copies. He's been taking. Another thing to take note of that we'll talk about more next episode is that he was taking trophies for every one of his kills. Every single one.
Yahi param vastavik hai.
No one can hide from my
something
sight.
that he could take home and
Casting a
keep for his
spell.
That is absolutely so weird. But like I'm just like
10
I'm just like
seconds
so
remaining.
like I know that not everybody's like on board with the idea of us doing true crime all the time.
My
you know?
servants
I know
never
we got a lot of
dies.
positive feedback, but I know there's been some people that, like, of all the fucking stories that we could have went, like, mostly we cover things that are like almost certainly
Play
false.
of the game.
And it's like so amazing to hear like all the crazy shit that people think, right? But this is like completely unbelievable, right? Like this is like not how the stories go. This is the plot of like a movie that was made up that would be criticized for being too outrageous. This is like Smokin' Aces level crazy. And it's true.
Yeah, it's all true, which is insane. I will say, talking about true crime, last episode was one of our best received episodes and fastest listened to episodes. So thank you very much for that, everybody. We sincerely appreciate that. I'm very happy that that you guys are really loving it. And to address a quick question that I've been getting as well, for people who want to know about the Indie PopCon live show, if that's going to be uploaded, it is not going to be uploaded. That specific episode was a little shorter on purpose, and we spent most of the panel, or at least half of the panel, listening to audience stories and kind of riffing on them. That was really, really great. So if you're one of the ones that was out at Indie PopCon that came to come see us, thank you very much. That was super, super fun. Zach Baggins became my arch nemesis, apparently.
We're definitely...
So
You brought it up. You kept bringing it up, not us.
I know. I got really upset. I got really heated.
You are not a fan of Zach.
We're definitely...
I am, Zach. I think you're really good. I think you're...
What do you mean? What do you mean I think you're really good?
Don't listen to these two guys, Zach. I think you're talented.
I'm not...
And I want to fight ghosts, too. I want to be a ghost fighter.
A ghost fighter. I love it.
All right.
Well, that's it for episode 8 here on Chilluminati Podcast, Tommy Patera Part 2. Thank you all so much for listening.
Hell yeah, babies.
Yeah, man. We've cracked over 300 5-star reviews on iTunes, so thank you so much. That is huge for us. If you guys are enjoying it, make sure you just leave a positive review wherever you're listening to it. All the people asking for merch, we
hear
started
you.
down
Yes.
that path. Yeah, we've started down that path, and keep your ears and eyes peeled for that on our Twitter or even on the subreddit or on our episodes. We'll announce when they go live when we do the next episode. Just sincerely thank you for the support. This has been such a fun time, and I'm excited to continue on. And thank you to you guys, Mr. Alex and Mr. Jesse, for joining.
It's shocking.
me on
It's
this
shocking how
particular
many
episode.
people are listening to this. Continue to tell your friends. This is a
Yeah.
delightful, completely out of genre thing for me to do. So I thank you for asking me to be on the show. It's good vibes.
It's great. I'm loving it. You want to talk to us? You can Chilluminati Pod on Twitter, Chilluminati Podcast subreddit, Faciane A on Twitter, Jesse Cox on Twitter for Jesse, and Mathis Games for myself. The subreddit is still awesome. There's still some really cool stories.
And I
going
lurk.
on in there,
And I lurk.
appreciate it.
I'm in there. I read like every
He
post.
does. He talks about it all the time.
I read the post too, and if you have suggestions, we have a proper suggestions thread now, so you can just go ahead and throw all your suggestions in there if you want to see us cover something very specific. I will say that once we are out of the Tommy Patera story, the next episode is back to some weird stuff, a weird stuff of a story that actually happened. So that'll be fun to
Can't
talk
wait.
Yeah,
And I'll try
Thank
and
you guys so
throw
much for
together
watching.
some mini episodes for you guys too.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you want to do mini episodes, if you want more mini episodes, we're gonna have some more for you coming up as well. And we will see you next time on Chilluminati.
Bye.